It's a great day for offshore powerboat racing. Thanks for joining us here at Race World Offshore's Facebook page and live streaming also at their YouTube channel as well as X Insurance YouTube. It's the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix, our second day of racing, and the sun has broken out. The wind's coming in off the ocean, which we're going to expect to help us have a wonderful day of racing here. 3 different race starts as we get underway in the second day, and the first time Race World Offshore producing an event here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, on the way to the RWO APBA UIM World Championships later this year in Key West, Florida. Hi, I'm Todd Swafford. I'm joined by Eric Colby of SpeedOnTheWater.com. We have Ryan Beckley back with the APBA, and we have a guest today who brought in a local New Jersey racer and knows a lot about the bracketed class boats. He'll join us for the first couple of races, Mark Henderson. So, Eric, we were worried a little bit about the weather this morning. It was very overcast with the 40-degree or the 50-degree, temperatures offshore. We were waiting for the haze to burn off, but it's burned off now. It's bright and sunshiny out there. Light winds, which are coming in off the ocean at about 5 to 7 miles an hour. And it looks like we're going to have a nice race day today.
Yeah, we couldn't even see the buoys at the north end of the course. I believe that's north. But, yeah, almost looks like there's going to be a little bit more bump than yesterday just by looking at the break when the waves are coming in. I don't remember seeing that many waves out. And since we are here in New Jersey, let's go ahead and talk to the godfather of the bracket class boats, Mark Henderson. I'm looking at names showing up on Mark's phone, and it's like a blast of the past. Vic Latona just showed up, and so what do you think? You getting nostalgic looking out on this race course and thinking about the old days?
Absolutely. As you know, Atlantic City's got a heritage with offshore powerboat racing. My dad actually took me to one of the first races they ever had here back in 1974 as a young kid, and I watched the races right here in the Steel Pier. I think that got me hooked at a young age, and it's been a passion of mine since that time.
Yeah, and we were talking, the waters here. We've got, low tide at 145. You said with the low tide here and the breeze coming in off the ocean, that it'll create a little more wave action, considering we don't have a lot of wind here to push up the waves.
So it looks like what we're dealing with is an east rolling swell, which, to your point, Todd, along the beach, it is significantly shallower on the front stretch. So I do think as the race goes on, you're going to see more of a roller activity on the front stretch, which will present a challenge to the racers.
Yeah, watching the boats head out to mill in the first race here today, the bracket class 600 boats, bracket class 500 boats. This is the first race of the American Powerboat Association and UIM series. And Ryan Beckley, what were your thoughts about this first race to get the APBA UIM leg of offshore powerboat racing underway here?
Well, we're just glad to be back in Atlantic City, obviously, again, and have such a great turnout of boats that just showed up in such a late start of the season. Especially all these bracket classes had a great turnout. Classes 5, 6, 4 had a huge turnout. So Class 7 later today, the smallest boats in the fleet have the biggest fleet of, I believe it's 9 boats. So it actually should be amazing racing.
Yeah, the bracketed class 500 and 600 boats out for the first race here today. Later, we'll have the bracket class 700s in our second start, and the Super V. What are we calling the Super V?
The V Limited.
The V Limiteds, and they will be running with the pretty big 700 class. What is it? 9 boats that we had in that class. Is that correct, Eric?
Yeah, the V Limited. Most people have been used to seeing those run in bracket 600, but these are the bat boats, as everyone likes to call them, and they are now their own class, and they can race at an offshore event. They can go to a vintage class event and run on a short course. So those guys must be psyched because they don't have to worry about a speed limit anymore. They just go out and race.
And then there'll be a refueling of the helicopters then. And at 1:30 or maybe just a little bit before, the Mod Vs will come out and race 6 boats competing there, 8 laps. And we'll finish up the day at 2:15 with some big boats for you. the catamarans, the Class 1 boats, and the factory stock 500 boats. That's Class 1 UIM and Class 2 UIM. So it looks like a beautiful day here. The sun again is peeking out, and we have our first group of boats in 600 and 500. Give us the lineup that we have in our first start, Eric.
Okay, in Class 500 in Lane 1 is Superboat, which is the 30-foot Superboat. John Cohen III is driving, Fast Eddie Simmons on the throttles. Lane 2, Tough Noogies, Matt Reska driving, Gavin Jafarian on the throttles. Lane 3, Fuel 1 Team, Craig Chittenden on the throttles. Driving. Damon Murata Sr. is throttling. Rum Runners, Lane 4, Tom Crowley is driving. The owner of the boat, Fran Vellatadu, is throttling. And Lane 5 is EBE Racing, the 28 Manta with new 300Rs, a pair of outboards. Ramey Reeder driving. John Burrows is throttling. 3 boats in Class 6. American Hustle, 23-foot Warlock, is in Lane 1 with Brandon Horrocks and Mike Irick. Lane 2 is Moderation with the owner, Michael Lang, driving, and Johnny Saris throttling. And Lane 3 is Horizon with Alex Stanler and Raymond Hoffman, and looks like we're going to get these boats rolling.
Yep, we're going to be listening in to the pace boat. Leland Stanford will be starting these boats as usual. Lee working with Race World Offshore, APBA, and Lee's also the UIM Sports Commissioner. So you'll be hearing the start. He gets really active on the radio as he gets the boats up out of a mill and brings them up to 50 miles an hour and lines them up for a start. First there'll be the yellow flag, and once he gets the boats in position that he feels good with, feels like it's ready to start, he'll throw up that green flag. Maybe the hardest thing to set up, Ryan.
Oh, it's definitely a challenge, being on the pace boat or getting everybody lined up in a row and trying to keep everybody back from jumping the start or slingshotting the start, which has been a problem in the past. But they're getting up on plane now, and I can hear Leland.
Yep, let's listen in to the start. Leland Stanford, our race starter. As you can see, he's looking for them to line up all together. He's going to have to get some of these boats lagging behind up to the front. The ones.
Not get ahead of the pace boat. We're going at even speed. We're not accelerating.
Well, is the Manta starting behind because it's 2 rookies?
It's 3 rookies.
There's 3 in the boat?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know the third.
Nice line. Come on, everybody catch up.
Starting to form up. Still on a yellow flag.
Guys are looking very good. Make sure you're in your lane.
Green flag.
All right, green flag racing. The race is on here in Atlantic City, bracket class 600 and 500. Second day of racing in the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix.
Rum Runners got a good start. No surprise that Fran is out to an early lead. That 26 Scarab should love these conditions. What are you seeing, Mark?
Yeah, definitely a great boat in these water conditions. I know the teams, both John and Eddie in Superboat and Gavin and Tough Noogies would prefer it to be a little bit rougher for those Y2K Superboats, but looks like we have a really good competitive start here. Should be an exciting turn 1.
And this is a Larry Smith Scarab, which there aren't many of them. That's similar to the boat Nigel Hook used to run in Offshore A class. They're just coming past the start line, so this is the start of their first lap. Looks like Fuel 1 Team and then the 2 Superboats. You can throw a rope across them. I believe Moderation was leading in Class 6, but they're off camera right now.
And this is bracketed class racing. Cannot exceed your set speed limit, which is 75 for the bracket class 500 boats and 70 for the bracket class 600 boats. Ryan, what's the major difference between 500 and 600?
The 600 boats are generally just a little bit smaller, and in 600 class you cannot have a blower motor. You have to have a naturally aspirated motor. And they're running 22 to 26 foot boats in class 6, and generally speaking, class 5 is 26 to 30 foot boats, and they can have a blower motor, a supercharged engine, and they're all Bravo based boats except the one outboard boat out there.
All right, there's a good look at the Larry Smith Scarab Rum Runners out
Yeah.
of New Jersey.
Fran said he was hoping for a calm day because his neck was still sore from Cocoa Beach. But it looks like Fuel One team is trying to get up to make a run at him in that 29 Warlock. And that's a former national champion in this class when it ran as Bulletproof, I believe.
Yes.
And as we always caution you, this is bracketed class racing, so until they get back to the dock, we'll really not 100% know who won. And I mean, that was apparent yesterday in bracket class 400 where the top 3 boats all broke out. And the back end of the grid ended up finishing up front. We understand some of those results are still under investigation, but who we see finish the race in first on the water, it may not exactly be that way until they look at their bracketed speeds, because you get over the speed limit and you're going to get penalized. And those rules kind of changed a little bit in the off season, but I mean, in essence, that is how we're racing.
Well, the rules are you can't break out for more than 3 seconds total.
Right.
That rule has floated in its interpretation for the last few years, but now it is 3 seconds in total time, no matter how long it is.
And if you exceed the 3 seconds, you get
you're out.
last place points.
Correct.
And we
Correct.
see our leaders coming through in bracket class 500. Appears to be the Rum Runners continuing to lead that pack.
Yep, and the looks like the Superboat is, I think that's John the Third and Eddie on the inside and to the left of Rum Runners, and then it would be Tough Noogies and Fuel One team battling for the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Fuel One right now is still in second place. Damon Murata and Craig Chittenden. They're
there
in
they
second place, and they're making a strong run right now down the beach. But Fran and
Tom
Tom
Crowley.
have that boat dialed in. They don't make mistakes. They don't break out.
And they've
they're
been together
very,
a long time.
Very, very good. They do a great job. So it's their race, and they know what to do to. These guys will force the other boat to break out, and they will play games with each other to make somebody break out.
Yeah, especially in the straightaways, because generally speaking, if someone passes someone in a straightaway, that's more likely a breakout than in a turn. But and looking back on, moderation is definitely leading in Class 6, and I think American Hustle's in second and Horizon's in third. There's American Hustle, 25 or 23 foot Warlock, I can't recall.
25-foot Warlock, extra one, original Factory One race boat there. They're down from the Rochester area. You know, they had a real tough time getting here yesterday and stuck in traffic trying to get here, and they were one of the last teams to arrive.
And you're familiar with the Manta that we're seeing on the screen here, Ryan. You ran that boat a few times with Greg Dorenzo.
Yeah, Greg is a good friend of mine, and these guys just bought it. A group from Boston bought it and repowered it, and this is their first race here.
All right, looking at
was
your
a great
leaders.
shot.
Yeah,
Yep.
great
Great shot.
Yep, from the X Insurance Helicam, Rum Runners, and the Fuel One team running first and second. Craig Chittenden and Damon Murata Sr. in the 588. Tom Crowley and Francis Velitato in the Rum Runners 522, looking at the Atlantic City Beach skyline.
There's the Horizon boat running in Class 6. They're currently in third place in that 22 Donzi, and that's one boat that I'd be very glad it was calm if I was running, because those rounded bottoms on those Donzis, and they're still getting a good ride.
So what are they running into there, Mark, as they make that turn and go down the southbound leg?
Well, to Eric's point, with that rounded bottom, you could notice them struggling a little bit through the turn. I certainly give those guys credit for taking that 22-footer out there in the ocean swells and giving it their all. So great to see that boat out there. As Eric also said, with bracket racing, most of the position changes are made in the turns. It's getting in and out of the corners, because you can only go so fast with your bracket speed. The real key is how you get in and get out of the corners and get back up to speed. So I believe if we're going to see some position changes, That's where you're going to see them in these bracket classes.
Yeah, we
today.
just looking at our leaders again coming around. Rum Runners and Fuel One team from the southbound leg of the course. This is an oval. It's wide sweeping turns on the north and south end, 4 miles long here on Atlantic City Beach.
And they're running 7 laps in 500 and 6 laps in 600. And the other thing worth noting with these 2 boats that we see on screen, the boat with the red bottom up front, the Scarab, is a conventional non-stepped, and the Warlock is a single step. That was a very popular Factory 1 boat back in the days when the Warlocks ran the on the West Coast. A lot of the guys had a 29 Warlock.
Coming in front of the boardwalk, the steel pier, Rum Runners continuing to lead here today in 500. Fuel One team in pursuit in second.
Yeah, Damon's trying not to live up to his nickname of Captain Breakout today, and he's trying to hold back. He didn't like it when I sent him a batch of stickers with the little Captain Breakout logo, but his boat is very fast, but he's got to stick to his plan and not break out. But he's got those 2 super boats that, like Mark said, it was a bit rougher, and they'd be right there with Tough Noogies and Team Superboat. So they got Franny's just racing his race, and everybody else is trying to catch him behind him, and that's the problem. Is he runs right on the number, and everybody else, you can't catch up or you break out.
Talk about the dynamic, Ryan, and trying to keep that boat, especially in a bump, where you're able to stay at the bracketed speed, but you got to watch the ways. You got to watch the speed as well.
Oh, for sure. Like, I was standing behind a boat this morning in the pit area, a Class 7 boat, and I'm like, look at that. That thing's got 4 screens in it. They're watching 4 different screens to try to make sure that they don't break out. And that's what these guys got. They all have a giant iPad or screen right in front of them with the number. But the problem is with just this little bump, if you're running right on your number of 74.9 per se, you're 1 wave away from racing over your speed, and you can only do that for 3 total seconds.
Yeah, because you come out of the water, you're accelerating when sometimes when you take to the air, you kind of leap forward.
Exactly, and I know there was 2 boats, Class 4, the 2 boats that finished in front yesterday in Class 4, both broke out because just that. They're like, we're running right on the number. And then when we hit a wave, it goes over, and they went over the total time.
Yeah, you usually don't hear about Jason Saris breaking out.
Exactly.
So he's even getting used to, the...
Especially in waters like this where it wasn't supposed to be this calm. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected Atlantic City to be calm.
For sure, especially this time of year. It's normally much rougher than this. So
Now that we're back with the guys in the 22 Donzi, the Horizon team.
They're from Brick up near you,
Yeah.
Mark? You know them a bit?
I know of them, yeah, and I think everybody would agree. One of the greatest things about bracket class racing is it provides an opportunity for people to get into the sport. You can buy an older boat, build your own power, and go racing relatively affordably. And it's seen a lot of growth over the years, and I expect it to grow again as we move throughout this season. I think you're going to see more and more bracket boats coming out as the season progresses.
Yeah, good look at the Fuel One team with the Carolina Racing engines running in second here in bracket class 500. 2 laps into this 7-lap race as they approach the end of lap number 3.
Yeah, and Fuel One team has been building a fleet.
Yeah, they're another team. I actually help take care of their graphics needs. And once a week, I get a call from one guy on that team saying, "We need another box of those, another box of stickers to here." And they're also building a fleet of inflatable Thundercats right now to be a sideshow at some of the races. And they have one on display over in the pit areas.
Just clocked Rum Runners 69.62 miles an hour on the lap. So that's running it pretty close. I mean, considering that they went into the turns, we don't know exactly the mileage of the lap. So it's somewhere around 4 miles. Could be 4.1 or 2, depending on how far they went around the course. But these guys are keeping it right near the speed limit.
Yeah, their breakout at 75, 74.9. So they're definitely on it. And as these guys know, the newest guys in the class are back there in tough noogies, whereas the two guys in the Superboat, they're
Yep.
seasoned KG veterans in that boat and have more seat time in Class 5 than anybody.
And they changed the name from Agora Day Spa to Superboat to honor John Cohen II, who is John III's father, who passed last year. And so.
Well, our announcer here, Mark, you got a lot of time in that boat, right, Mark?
I not this particular one.
Oh, that's a different boat.
That's the newer version.
Okay.
The Agora Day Spa that was prior to that was outrageous. That Eddie and I raced in Factory 1 in Class 5 for so many years. Did get sold, and Eddie built this boat.
Oh, it's a different boat.
It's a different
I
boat.
thought it was the same hull, but
No.
you raced that hull.
Oh, and it's
many races.
Many. Like Eddie and I, probably 80 plus races together in his boat. And as Eric said, unfortunately, we lost John Cohen II, an iconic boat builder and racer, a hero of mine as a kid going to the Benihana Grand Prix. He was always winning in the production, in the modified, and the sport classes. A phenomenal guy, a great boat builder, and I certainly miss him, and I know a lot of other people do as well.
Yeah, off screen, we've seen our bracket class 600 boats come through with moderation. Michael Lang and Johnny Saris in the lead, followed by American Hustle and Horizon. 1, 2, 3.
Here's the Horizon boat back on screen. What's amazing is the sister boat that we talked about that races down in Australia. Has like an 800 horse blower motor in it. And Scott Porte put his bottom on that boat down in Australia, and they race it down there.
And these guys are running strong in that boat. It looks great.
Yeah, it looks good. Not using a lot of tab, just a little bit to kind of extend the running surface. It looks as comfortable as you could be.
Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix, first race of the APBA UIM Series. Next up, Michigan City. On the way to the Key West World Championships in November. We'll stop in Clearwater at the end of September. And the Key West World Championships the first week of November. Go to raceworldoffshore.com for the full schedule of events. Back to Superboat 568, John Cohen III and Edgar Simmons.
It's interesting seeing the Deep Impact sticker on there. They must be sponsoring them because Deep Impact makes center consoles.
Yes.
I think it's the same company.
It is, and there is some sponsorship of the team from Deep Impact.
Well, there you go. I know Matt Trulio, my colleague at Speed on the Water, has been doing a few different stories about some of the big Deep Impacts that they've been building over the last couple of years. Pretty boats.
Beautiful.
There goes our leader in bracket class 500. The Rum Runners, Fuel One team continuing to run in second. We clocked them same exact lap time there, so they're really managing their bracketed speed well. Of course, they'll go faster down the straightaways than that 69 miles an hour we clocked them at. But of course, you're going to have to negotiate the turns and reduce speed. So they're obviously really watching that GPS very closely here, as all the other boats are. We're watching for the leaders in bracket class 600 also to come in. Get a shot of them for you. Continue later on, immediately following, more racing with the bracket class 700s, the next to come out.
Yeah, that should be a really good race. The bracket class 700, Mark actually had a lot to do with the beginnings of that race, taking the old Bay Bombers and the SOB boats, as we used to call them, the single outboards. Great class, a lot of 21 activators and 21 super boats, challengers, rally sports, velocities, anything you could find and throw a single outboard to any old V6 Mercury would do. And that's where that class has evolved from. There's a couple guys that still run the old two-stroke boats, but I mean, literally, you can go out and find a $5,000 boat and go race it in that class. There are guys that'll outspend you, but you could be out there racing in your Bay Bomber to go racing.
Well, you know, Ryan, you mentioned the beginnings of Class 7. It was right here in Atlantic City in 2013 when off season that year, we talked about getting the class together. I had a Regal Velocity pleasure boat that I said, I'm in. I converted it to a race boat, talked to a few other people, including Jay and Kyle of Speed Marine. That's how they got into the sport, racing in Class 7. Anyway, to make a long story short, we recruited 3 other guys. We showed up at the first race with 4 boats, and we got Class 7 going. And by the end of the year, we had over 10 boats. And I think it's been a great thing for offshore.
Good look at moderation or bracket 600 leader with Lang and Saris in front of American Hustle and Horizon in that class.
There's American Hustle on the screen now, the 25 Warlock out of Rochester, New York. Those guys came down doing a great job. Brandon is in the boat, Brandon Horak. And they're trying to chase down Johnny Saris and Mike in the moderation boat, but they're tough to beat.
Good shots from the X-Insurance Telecam. Welcome back, Rick Lindsay, Neil Mellis on board, shooting the great shots here in Atlantic City on the RWO live stream. Our 6221 Horizon, Alec Stender and Raymond Hoffman and the Donzi.
That's a production-based boat as well that is off the showroom floor. Some of these are custom-built race boats, but that Donzi, there's a million of those things out there that you could buy up and go racing.
Looking at the lead boat in bracket class 500. Rum Runners.
About 13 seconds ahead, so they're comfortable. Tom Crowley's a veteran driver. He'll look back and just make sure that they maintain their cushion. And
yeah.
he's just running those buoys. He's right on the pins that one he was a little bit out, but Tom's a very good driver, and these two have gelled very well. If you ever saw the movie The Wrestler, I don't know that I'd want to get Fran mad at me anyway, because he looks like Randy the Ram. And here we are back with the moderation boat. Not too many of these out there. There's Modern Marine. You helped him find this, Mark?
This boat was a former A-class boat from the mid-'90s called Heartthrob, owned and built by Steve Abbott from Long Island at the time. Steve now lives in Florida, but when Johnny was looking for a boat to replace it, I connected him with Steve, and Steve still had the boat, and that's how that became the new moderation.
Yeah, because the original moderation was a suckfin.
Suckfin, and unfortunately they had a catastrophic accident with that.
In Englewood, was it?
I think it was Inglewood, yes.
So Rum Runners pulling away, getting around a 600 boat there. Unofficially got them at about 8 seconds ahead of a Fuel One team. Superboat 12 seconds back. Moderation with the lead in bracket class 600, about 11 seconds ahead of American Hustle and over a minute ahead of the Horizons team.
Moderation should be on its final lap right now because they're running 6. And I just had them finish lap 5. So, white flag.
There's the 28 Manta, the old outboard boat.
Yep.
Something interesting about that, I think it's the only boat out there. These guys are standing up in bolsters, and everybody else is sitting down in a seat, a little more comfortable, a little more in control. But the old school way to do it would be like this, standing up in a bolster. You're kind of leaning back into the pad. But those guys in their first race are doing a great job and still making their way around the course.
Yeah, that boat and Saris Racing, probably the only 3 with the stand-up bolsters and 3 people on board.
Right. In the olden days, the third seat would be a navigator because the boats would have left here and we wouldn't see them for about 30 minutes. They'd go further down the coast, then way further out in the ocean. And what we've done is bring the racing closer together to show the fans more racing action closer to shore and do more laps. So everybody gets to see the boats more often.
All right, the boats coming up to the beach towards the north turn. Some boats into their final lap, and the bracket class 500s will have one more lap after this.
Yeah, when Rum Runners comes by, basically the steel pier, that'll be the start of its final lap, just the other side of that when he hits that yellow buoy. And it looks like Fuel One team is still comfortably in second, but Monty and John are trying.
They are.
Yeah, the superboat they're trying to sneak up the inside there to get to to get to them before this turn and maybe make a run on the last lap.
But will I just have to also see about the breakouts?
Yeah.
Well, the great equalizer.
Tough Noogies, Matt Reska, and Gavin Jafarian in the Super.
Their crew member, Tyler Woolston, who grew up with my son Blake and now works for Saris Marine.
And finishing in second will be American Hustle.
Nice run for the Warlock.
So moderation, again, they will have to turn in their data cards from their GPS units, check for bracketed speed breakouts. These are all unofficial. The final results, once resolved, will be posted on the results tab of raceworldoffshore.com. Watching the Maximum Inflation live stream as we look at our final lap and the stretch run for the checkered flag in bracket class 500. There's your top 2 boats in bracket class 6 heading to get the checkered flag moderation. And here comes your finish in the 500. It's been a great day for the top 2 boats, certainly all 3, but Rum Runners looks like they'll take the checkered flag. Fuel 1 team will take second.
Here, I'm not exactly sure if I can see the finish line, but they're teetering on where they want to break out here, because any one of these guys could easily break out if they wanted to.
There you go.
They're getting right there, and it's super close.
Nope.
Less than a second at the finish line between Fuel 1 Racing and Superboat.
Yeah, excellent example of where you may have had the juice there at the throttles to go past them, but you couldn't. You break out, you go over your allotted speed.
Every once in a while, you'll see somebody that just wants to go out there and win anyways, and that gets they want to win on the course, and they know they break out.
So taking 4th place, Tough Noogies, 5th place, EBE Racing, but your top 3 Rum Runners, Fuel 1 team, and Superboat, top 3 in bracket class 600, Moderation, American Hustle, and Horizon unofficially. And through the Ferris wheel, we tried to get that moved for the live stream, but just couldn't get that worked out.
Give these guys credit just for finishing in this 22 Donzi. Very classic looking boat for anyone who likes the older lines. Good looking boat. And next up, looks like, it sounds like they're getting the next race ready to roll as soon as they can.
Yeah, race control had pulled the next boats out, which are the Super V Limited and bracket class 700 boats, about 8 minutes ago as we look at our pace boat holding the checkered flag here.
Fountain, what do you think, 35 or 38?
Anybody? Yes?
I thought somebody said it was 42, but
42.
okay.
that's
There
just
you
me,
go.
my guess. The last boat out on the course still is the EBE Racing, just finishing
Yep.
up their first ever race, which is a challenge in itself to many people. They're they probably wish it was a little bit rougher here today too, but you know, attrition plays a huge part in racing, being able to finish the race. So hats off to those guys in their first ever event. They struggled with the crane. Their crane straps were too long, and things have been working against them. And since they bought this boat, they put a new set of motors on it, and they've worked really hard to get here. So very cool to see the EBE guys down from Boston and finishing their first ever race.
My first race in a stand-up boat, my feet were numb at the end of the race.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're feeling that, because
There you see him going across the finish line right there, which is a feat
Yep.
in itself.
there you go. Now, is that a flat deck that they stand on?
The floor is flat, yeah, and it's got
Okay.
an angled footrest in front of them.
Oh,
so you
okay.
kind of plant your butt behind you and put your feet forward at a little bit of an angle to absorb some of it. If you come across some of my old pictures of me racing that boat, I was always leaning down, trying to get out of the wind, trying to squeak out another quarter mile an hour out of that thing. So.
Yeah, the 31 Scarab I raced with Craig Archer, they didn't have a floor in it. So my right foot, because it was a different setup, the driver was on the right, the throttleman was in the middle to feel the best balance of the boat. Navigator was on the port side. I was all the way to the right, so my right foot was on the chine. and my left foot was at this weird angle down against the stringer. And so I'd get out the boat.
So you were asking for a broken ankle.
Yeah, I'd get out of the boat very gingerly and walk around for about 30 seconds right when the race was done.
Well, our first race of the day is in the books. Again, it'll be scored by Tech once those boats get back to the dock. But unofficially, Rum Runners with the win in bracket class 500, as we're going to see them get their flag here. They finished 3 seconds up in front of the Fuel 1 team. Again, this all unofficial. The 588 second, 568 Superboat takes third in bracket class 500. Bracket class 600, Moderation with the win, finishing almost 7 seconds ahead of American Hustle, and in third, Team Horizon. Coming up next, the Super V Limited teams and the bracket class 700 boats will be out here to race. We've still got, with that, 3 more races here on the final day, Sunday, of the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix, presented by Race World Offshore, part of the American Powerboat Association and UIM Series here in the United States. We're going to take a break and come back with more. Get you set for our second race after this timeout.
Stop at Sunoco. Go with confidence.
Join the fabulous feel of fuel power. Video game move off into turn 3.
At Sunoco Race Fuels, we started blending our first high-octane fuel in 1950. And since then, we've become leaders in the industry, helping drivers become leaders on the track. Today, we sit at the front of the pack with partnerships of more than 40 different racing bodies, including 20 years of fueling NASCAR. But a true leader never rests on their laurels. Now's the time to remind the racing world who we are and embrace what it truly means to take the lead.
36, get to the back bumper of the 4 and give him a big push.
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge, to do whatever it takes to make you 1/10 of a second faster, smarter, more committed than the other guy, because you've got the kind of passion that can overcome the impossible. And we've got the most powerful performance race fuel available to help you do it. Sunoco Race Fuels. Take the lead.
The all-new Bally's Atlantic City has new rooms, new restaurants, and more.
Enjoy a night of fine dining at Park Place Prime, where Jerry Longo's meatballs and martinis.
Then stay in our brand new Bally's Hotel Tower, inspired by the heart and soul of the AC Beach and Boardwalk.
These contemporary and clean rooms are reflective of the bright and soothing coastline.
So book your stay today. Visit Bally'sAC.com.
Plus, don't miss happy hour at Park Place Prime or Phil's Carousel Bar.
When you're up there and you're up that high, you're just floating. I don't know what a bird feels like, but I think it should be pretty close to that. We're Miami Beach Ocean Water Sports. We're a parasailing company. We've been here for the last 5 years. We really have a great time here operating. There's a lot of regulation and changes to the industry itself. Your insurance is really your first gateway to information. They're the people that cover you, they're the people that make sure that you're following the rules and you're protected. X Insurance, the guys are great, they help me out. They really call me every year to see any new regulation that I need to be under, if I need any help. So, I mean, the experience that I have with them it's been fantastic. They're always there, and they're always actually reaching out to me. It's a good relationship. I wouldn't even want to try anything else.
Race World Offshore is in Atlantic City, New Jersey, as we're underway here on this Sunday. You can see a beautiful day looking at the boardwalk, the steel pier. Had one race in the books in bracket class 500 and 600 as we continue on with the Maximum Inflation live stream. The new Maximus Quick Tire Inflation Kit by Maximum Inflation is the only U.S.-made valve that uses CO2 cartridges for your side-by-side motorcycle or ATV. your machine got you there, the Maximus Quick Tire Inflation Kit gets you home. We'd also like to thank Visit Atlantic City, beautiful beaches here, and tons of nightlife and fun, entertainment, and the casinos. Our series also brought to you by X Insurance, bringing you the UIM World Championship, Sunoco Fuels, Racing Fuels, and Racing Communications, and also Tuna Skin, the official apparel company of Race World Offshore. Todd Swafford back with you. Eric Colby of SpeedOnTheWater.com. Ryan Beckley with the American Powerboat Association. Mark Henderson is joining us. We've got a real local New Jersey offshore racer who almost called you vintage. A real veteran of
I'm not
offshore.
that old yet.
Real able to talk about the history here, which is great. Dating back to some real historic races. There was an APBA UIM World Championship here in 1989. Some historic races in the early, the earlier years here. Usually very rough. We've had races black flagged by fog here in New Jersey. It's good to be back racing, and things are looking good for racing to continue here with Race World Offshore in the future. It's got to be great for fans in New Jersey to see the races back in Atlantic City.
For sure. Offshore powerboat racing in New Jersey, between here and Point Pleasant Beach has been something that people have really looked forward to every summer. So to hear that it looks like the race will be back here next year and hopefully for many years to come is very exciting for us here in the state.
And yeah, what a historic thing for APBA as well, Ryan. And I forgot about Point Pleasant. And, back in the early days, these are some of the roughest races in all of APBA racing.
Well, definitely here was, definitely Point Pleasant was. But we also had some smaller races like Barnegat Bay. They raced forever and ever, Bayside. But, yeah, here in Atlantic City especially, notoriously, were some real rough races. And boat breakers, busters, everything here, and Point Pleasant Beach.
Yeah, and yesterday we had Smitty of OPA who came and raced. We were pleased to see him. What's up? He organized so much racing here in New Jersey and over the years, and continuing on with the Offshore Powerboat Association. This is the first race of the APBA UIM World Championships. Next up, as you see the pace boat head up,
there's a 41 Apache there. I didn't even see that one. Yeah. I don't know which one that even is.
That's our second
Which
pace
boat is that, Mark?
That one I'm not familiar with.
There's another 41 Apache in Atlantic City.
Speaking of performance boating in New Jersey, I ran into Dave Patnod in the lobby of the Golden Nugget the other night. Say hello. He was the president of the New Jersey Offshore Performance Powerboat Association. Was that right?
That and Dave and his dad Ray were running basically New Jersey Offshore Powerboat Racing Association, which I was a longtime member of, and they were responsible for putting on a lot of the races here in New Jersey. Ryan referenced Point Pleasant Beach, Barnegat Bay, and here in Atlantic City, Dave and Ray were instrumental in making those races happen. And I was part of the Bob Christie. I was part of the volunteer crew, and then fortunate enough also to race in those events.
Yeah,
and Augie Penza and the Jersey Boys.
That's right.
Yes.
We're talking historic. Those guys came down and raced with the OPA in Key West, back turn of the millennia. We watch the bracket class 700 boats, some of them following that Apache out to the southbound turn where they were mill and start this race coming up. Bracket class 700 and the Super V limited teams. So we're about ready to get underway with our second start. This is bracket class 700 V open or canopy, but all of these V open boats, single outboard only, about 22 feet. They're bracketed speed at 60 miles per hour. These boats are a lot of fun to watch. We'll probably just have just enough of a swell that they'll get some air here. What are we looking at, Mark? With low tide about an hour away, and you've got that wind coming off the the ocean at about 7-8 miles an hour right now.
So I think there'll be some rollers. Certainly fun for these boats. You'll see some of these Class 7 boats actually getting out of the water. The throttlemen are going to have to be, I think, on their game. And one note about Class 7, I think, everybody would agree. I mean, it's certainly our entry-level class in terms of cost, but from a skill level, I would say it's not entry-level. I mean, I was fortunate enough to race in the class many times myself, and a lot of really, really good throttlemen got their start in single outboard V-bottoms, and we've seen it recently where many people that started in Class 7 have moved up to larger classes like Mod V and even higher. I mean, we have Nikki Imprescia, who started in Class 7, who's now throttling a super stock boat and doing well there. So it's a great class, and hopefully it continues to grow.
You want to get the lineup?
Let's get the lineup. Here's Eric Colby from SpeedOnTheWater.com.
Lane 1, the only purpose-built Class 7 boat currently is the Dirt Legal 22 Velocity with Brad Christopher driving and Connor Langheim on the throttle. Lane 2, Red Rum 22 Progression. Lou LaFerrera is driving. Robert Barnashi is on the throttles. Lane 3, Red Rocket, brand new boat for this race. Mario Gagliardi is driving, and Jax Muller on the throttles. Lane 4, Shocker, Raymond Evans, and Patrick Romeo, a 21-foot superboat. I'm not sure that that's Raymond Evans because he was the one that got hurt in the big Shocker boat, so we may have someone else in that boat.
I believe Chris Colson
I think
is
Chris
in that
is
boat.
in there. Okay. Piston Broke, Lane 5, the guys from Nova Scotia. Jeff Pritchard and Scotty Young, Lane 6. Safe Cash Racing, Marianne Stallcup, Scott Jobin. Marianne is either 14 or 15 and slowly becoming a veteran. Lane 7 is Back in Business. Connor Queenan, the Long Island boys, with Dylan Gold and another progression. Lane 8, Team Progression, the Rileys, Joe and Joe Sr., and Joe Jr. rather. And Lane 8, Lane 9 rather, Mad Max Racing, Max Zeldich, Anthony Rizzo, and the only 21 Shadow in the fleet. For the 600, the V Limiteds rather, we've got 2 of them, and it's Mike Sadlon and Mike Webster, and Rob Goodwin, the owner of Ultimate Boat Racing Experience. I don't have the driver's name off here. Let me check. I have another source for that.
Yeah, so we're looking there at a great shot and from the X Insurance Helicam. Now looking at the wide view here from the Showboat Casino where we're broadcasting from. You can see Rick Lindsay flying his chopper overhead, and we'll continue to have coverage of that during today's race. So bracket class 700 and Super V Limited here. Again, back to the aerial shot.
Mike Ryan is driving with Rob Goodwin in the VL3, the orange of the 2 bat boats.
Again, we will have the start with the Leland Stanford, the official starter for Race World Offshore. He's also the UIM Sports Commissioner here. Gather the boats up. They're going to mill the same direction as the course, which runs clockwise. And they'll be coming down the beach leg, which is northbound here in front of the fans watching on the beaches. And they'll pass right by the steel pier where the start-finish line is. It's going to...
Yeah, you can see everybody trying to get in their slot right now to pick up, find the slot when there's going to be 11 boats in this start. And everybody's pre-assigned a slot for this first national race of the season. So that everybody wants to get, because you can't make up time when you can't break out. So at 60 miles an hour, here we go. They're getting in their slot.
You can hear Leland Stanford in the background, so we're going to track race control here. Just said he's going to gather everybody up and not leave anybody behind.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at the swarm of angry bees of outboard boats right there lining up. Like I said, you can go buy one of these things. You can find a Facebook Marketplace boat, single outboard boats, and come out here and go racing with these guys hop right in this class and go racing.
All right, we're going to let Leland Stanford take it away here as he gets these 700 boats lined up. Good luck, buddy.
You guys got a lot of room.
The V Limiteds are the 2 inside, the closest to the pace boat.
Right, there were supposed to have been 3 of those. They broke one of them in testing yesterday, so they're not making the third start. But
242, pick your lane and get in it.
the V Limited class, you can rent the seats in those boats, and anyone could come race one of those to try to go racing in the one design racing series.
Pace boat's coming up to 40.
Here we go for the start. He's getting them lined up at 40 miles an hour. Start of bracket class 700 and Super V Limited.
The hardest part is like that boat all the way on the outside closest to us is you can't see the pace boat if you're in the wind, so you tend to creep up.
Yeah, that's the Red Rum boat.
The closest boat to us is Mad Max.
Oh, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because the Red Rum is one of the veteran teams. They've been racing this year, so.
Correct. We got the green flag. We're going racing right now. You can see the progression closest in the middle of the screen, the white and the Riley father and son team.
But there go the bat boats.
The bat boats can go
they're not
substantially faster. So yeah, now the rest of these guys got to stay under 60, which they're all capable of going 60 miles an hour. So the Rileys is definitely the veteran team right in the middle of the screen in their 22 progression out of Long Island. A lot of these boats came down from Long Island for this event.
All right, as you see, they're passing Steel Pier there, coming to start-finish line, which will be the official start of the race. Lap counting begins when they pass here and go into the north turn.
The interesting thing, the two guys in this boat, in the orange one design, they're both hydroplane racers who used to run against each other, and they said, well, if we're going to be alongside each other, let's try it in one boat. So this is the first time either of them has let another one drive or throttle. And this is Rob Goodwin, who is the owner of the Ultimate Boat Racing Experience, throttling this boat. And as Ryan said, you know, you can rent the seat and they'll basically teach you how to race.
Yeah, that's their goal for that class is build these one design boats. I've raced a couple of different versions of this years and years ago, and they are very forgiving, very amazing what they're capable of.
Whoa.
There you see one getting a little loose right there. Your rookie driver skills are showing through right there. We're trying to run it a little too hard for the corner. Where this one, the one out front, the red one right now, nose down, doing their work. The other one is a little too trimmed out, a little wild through the corner, trying to make up time on the first lap.
Probably not a lot of stern drive experience from a hydroplane racer, so he's got to get used to trimming that.
Is it Mark Webber in the boat with Mike Sadlin, I think?
It's Webster.
Oh, Webster?
Yep. And he actually raced some Unlimiteds back in the day. They were telling me yesterday, so.
It wasn't the Mark Webber. It was the famous Mark Webber.
From, he was, Mark Webber was the APBA president for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
There you see the Class 7 boats.
Here's
that's some awesome racing, those boats, how evenly matched these guys are.
But that looks like, someone's making a move there.
Yeah.
Or is that still the Rileys? It's a little far for us to make them out. But if there's one way out front, that's also going to be like, did someone break out? But no, that's the, there's your lead boats. Yeah, there's the Rileys.
The Rileys are in front. Dirt Legal's in second. Connor Langheim on the throttle and Dirt Legal. The newest purpose-built boat, a 22 Velocity. Red Rum's in third. And that's Piston Broke. And then Mad Max.
That's a Velocity behind
that.
That might be the Red Rocket. And then there's Connor Queen and Dylan Gold. I think that's the back in business boat on the inside there in the view that we're seeing as they run along the shore.
To Ryan's point, too, Joe Riley, Sr. and Jr. have a ton of experience in that 22-foot progression in all kinds of water. Obviously, being from the Northeast, they've raced a lot of rough races, although today's not that rough, but they definitely seem like they're going to be the team to beat today.
Didn't Joe work for Tony Caligari?
He did, and Joe back in the day raced in a pro stock boat, a D-class boat, so he's been around forever.
Coming back around, watching our Super V Limited boats, the Ultimate Boat Racing Experience One Design Powerboat, coming back up towards the start-finish line to complete lap number 1.
Yep, this is the VL2 in the lead, I believe. That's the VL2, the red. No, that's VL3.
Okay.
That's the Hydro Racers.
And look back at the Class 700 boats in a swarm.
And they're all running 6 laps. But it
This
looks
is
like
the scorekeeper's dilemma, trying to pick these boats apart coming across the line.
The Riley still got the lead, father-son team in the progression. They're still got a pretty good lead. And the first three boats have definitely broken away from the rest of the fleet. The next three boats, they got a good racing on. There's Dirt Legal again.
Yep, Dirt Legal.
On screen, beautiful 22 velocity with a 300R Mercury Racing engine. These guys do a great job, Brad and Connor.
Yeah, Brad Christopher and
Connor
Langheim, the boat put together by Scott McCormick at Velocity. The 300 Merc is paired with the Porte brackets, one of the few boats in that class that has it. There are others. They're trailing the top boat here as they come across the finish line, looking back at Super V Limited.
Yeah, there's a good look at the training wheels or the wings on the bat boats. That's one of the things that makes them so forgiving, because they just kind of lay over on that, and then it keeps them from going any farther. I'm not sure that little vertical tail does much, but it looks kind of cool.
It certainly looks cool.
I'm pretty sure that is a twin prop drive. I think that's a Bravo 3, because they're running it with an Ilmor.
Yeah, the original ones all had Volvo Penta drives on them when they first came out.
Yeah, because they were designed by Aki Mannerfelt, who's also based in Sweden, just like Volvo. And I remember the first one at the Miami Boat Show years ago. I tested that for Boating Magazine with Ed Szilagyi from Volvo Penta, another New Jersey guy.
There you see him coming around the corner there, in Rudd Rum still running in third. There's Dirt Legal in second. The Rileys are still out front in team progression. So we got a progression up front, a Velocity in second, a progression in third, Activator in fourth, I believe, with Piston Broke out of Canada.
Well, the Long Island guys are going to want to protect their turf here in the progressions. They're not going to let a boat built in Sanford, Florida beat them, or DeLand. And
Brad Christopher in Dirt Legal. It's interesting to see. He's an ex-motocross racer, and he had a leg injury, and he has one leg and has the prosthetic, I don't know the proper term, spring foot thing that he goes around, and he races. So he races with it, drives the boat with that, and Connor throttles. But they do a great job. They win a lot of races in that boat. The V Limiteds are running very close now. They caught up to each other a little bit, making their way around the south corner right now.
Yeah, well, let's see if now is this because Rob Goodwin wants to keep getting more business out of the guys in front, so he's letting them win, or do you think he's going to let them sit out there for a while, but then ultimately pass them so he still remains the alpha? Well, I mean, it's a great concept because, these guys are having a great race and they're probably loving it. The drivers who don't get to do this all the time. Because Mike Sadlon is one of the ultimate boat racing experience throttlemen that you can be paired with.
Yeah, so he does a lot of work with Rob, and he is a proponent of that class.
Here comes our leader in the Super V Limited. One Design Powerboats in front of the ultimate boat racing experience. Clocked them through last time on their first lap at 63.4 miles an hour. They're not bracketed, so they can go as fast as they can go.
Yeah, they were racing in Class 600. And that would have been, what, 70?
Yeah.
Is the top speed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the ultimate boat racing experience making a bit of a move here.
Yep.
Come through at about 62 miles an hour unofficially on that lap in a 4-mile lap here. And these boats out for 6 today, as well as the Class 700s. Get a look at Red Rum, Lou Ferrara, and Robert Beneschi.
Yeah, they're Long Island boys, I'm pretty sure. Barnashi might be from Connecticut.
I'm pretty sure he is. Lou Ferrara is from the Long Island, definitely from New York, but I'm pretty sure Bobby is from Connecticut in the Red Rum. if not upstate New York. But I'm pretty sure he's not out on the island.
Lou is actually from New Jersey and actually has a local sponsor for this race, Rago Auto Care out of Manalapan, New Jersey. He wanted me to put a mention out on
There
that.
you go.
There you go.
I saw a lot of teams on social media reaching out to get some local sponsorship. I know there was a lot of that in the Connor Queenan's boat, the other Team Progression boat there. He did a good job, and he got a lot of local sponsors. I wish I had a list of them.
I think he got Fuel One for the race.
He did have a Fuel One on there as well.
The other one is Bergen Performance Marine,
Yep.
which I believe is his main sponsor for this race. So shout out to him. Great to see.
Oh, that's Matt Tanney.
Yeah, I believe
from
so.
Bergen Performance. Yeah, I met him. He was with Cade from Sterling.
And it's great to see New Jersey-based businesses, sponsoring teams at this event.
Back over the top of Christopher and Langheim, Dirt Legal.
I believe they have the local Ruth Chris Steakhouse on their boat.
I did see that. That's
Yeah,
right.
So it's nice to see even the bigger companies. It's really great to see local companies, but all these guys, every little bit helps to, especially these bracket racers come race. When I was racing, I was notorious for having a lot of stickers on my boat, but that's how these guys go racing. Is every little bit chips away at the total end amount of money to go racing. So
here's our 14-year-old driver, Marianne, doing a great job in the X-Insurance back boat. That's Scott Jobin, who will be out again in the X-Insurance Mod V later on today on the throttles.
Yeah, that's another 21 Shadow, I believe. One of the Linder design boats of this class is a lot based on these 21 Shadows super boats.
I think that's a super boat.
Rally sports. They're all based off almost the same thing. And there's dozens, if not hundreds, of these things in the area, Long Island, in New Jersey, everywhere, floating around Florida. But these things are easy to find and great beginner boats for people to get their feet wet.
Looking at the bracket class 700 boats, and again, the X-Insurance Safe Cash team running here pretty good.
Well, you look at current guys who've run super boats. Nick Imprescia, Joe Imprescia had one. Nigel Hook had one on the West Coast. That's just J.D. D'Elia, and I'm sure Johnny has run plenty of super boats. His son. So, yeah, there's a great lineage. But now here we are back to the V Limited boats. It's almost side by side here. I don't know if that vertical wing has given the gold one the difference or not, but that's a great race.
Yeah, no, they've paired up here side by side.
So this would be the end of their third lap as they come to the line here, I think.
And you did reference the D'Elias. I know Johnny wishes he was here. He's getting his boat redone. I expect him to join the class later this year. And right out of the box, he was competitive. You kind of figured as much, being the son of JD, right?
Well, I love the name too, Third Edition.
Third Edition. That plays homage to John D'Elia, who unfortunately passed away recently, another legend in the sport.
So come through that lap just about the same speed, 62.68 unofficially, and they're going to battle this thing out all the way through. It looks like as long as they can both keep the props spinning. And our leaders in bracket class 700 back through again. Team Progression in the lead at the end of lap number 2. Dirt Legal Velocity Factory team second, third, Red Rum. We'll see how they stack out. Looks like most of the boats, if not all of them, continue to run out there. See them getting a little air there. It could be just a little bit more chop with that, with those rollers coming in and hitting that shallow water. Low tide still about 45 minutes away here.
You can see they're almost dealing with a little bit of a troughing situation with some of the rollers as they stack up along the beach, which is it can be challenging, but also a lot of fun to run in.
Looking at our V Limited 2, it's running in second. You can see the lead boat just out in front of them. The one Design Power in front of Ultimate Boat Racing Experience.
There's your leaders in Class 7. That's the Riley family, Team Progression, the 721. They've been out front since the very start, and they've got a great running boat. Like Mark said, these guys run great in any conditions. But 22 Progression, built in Long Island, and I think they've got Progression boats in first and third right now.
Kevin Loughran's progression, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Back to the X Insurance Helicam as we see our lead boats in Super V Limited heading on the southbound leg. Getting ready, you can see the wide sweeping 3-pin turn here. They'll head into it. We're going back to our leaders in factories.
I think this is the Red Rocket.
Is that the Red Rocket?
The local boat with,
Yeah, from Lake Hepatacong, New Jersey. It's one of the Muller boys in there with
Mario Gagliardi in his first race.
His first race. The boys bombed that thing around Lake Hepatacong. Another place they race in New Jersey, the biggest lake in New Jersey. I learned that recently. They'll be racing there later this year on Jay Muller's home lake, and you see them bombing around the course, and that's a boat just like yours, Mark, a Regal Velocity 22.
And it is, and that particular race up in Lake Hepatacong has also led to more Class 7 teams, because there's some boats up in that area that came out to race at Lake Hepatacong, and then they start going to other races as well. Good to see, and as Ryan said, Lake Hepatacong will be later this year in September.
Yeah, Jay Muller told me he thinks there's going to be 5 Supercats at Lake Hepatacong.
It's a small community up there, but it's really cool. They really embrace the race, and Jay works year-round on it with a whole group of people, and it's a great event. I'm looking forward to it.
Good look on overhead of the One Design powered boat from the X Insurance Helicam. Live coverage here at Race World Offshore's Facebook page and YouTube channel of the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix. Our live stream presented by Maximum Inflation CO2 rearming kits. Our two boats continue to stay close.
Do we have a lead change here? No?
Or have we? Yeah, I mean, we've had several back and forth here on the last couple of laps.
Yeah, so much of it's just the angle right now. It could be deceiving. But the boats, that looks like it's really good water for them. Very narrow running surface compared to a conventional, 24-foot Pantera or something like that. These things are maybe, 5-6 feet wide?
Yeah, the
multi-steps.
Yep. They're coming up on one of the trailing Class 700 boat here as they come around that south turn.
But now we're coming back to the 700 boat fleet here. Let's see. Did Dirt Legal get to the?
No, Riley's still way out front.
Yeah, that's.
I can see. I'm looking out the window and not at the screen. And
yeah,
Riley's definitely got the lead. Then Dirt Legal. It's still the same order, I believe, for the first three.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes our overall leaders in the Super V Limited again. Thanks for joining us. This APBA UIM season opener as we watch the boats cruise past the steel pier. That's our number 9 boat. Is that Save Cash?
No, this is the Rileys leading.
That's the Rileys. This is the lead boat in Class 700.
This is the end of their 4th lap, so they should have 2 to go.
They certainly look dialed in, and it's great to see, as Ryan said, all the Class 7 boats are still running. And there's battles throughout the fleet. Even though the Rileys are out in front by a good distance, everybody's battling for every position, which is great to see.
Yeah, they got a super close battle here for 4th, actually, which should be right behind this if they're going to go to it. But for 4th, they're pretty much 3 wide for 4th between Piston Broke and
Back in Business.
Back in Business and Mad Max, I believe that is.
Yep. So 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, that's a pretty close race. They're all on one screen compared to the other 3 out front that are daisy-chained apart already.
Team progression with 7.3.
So 22 for Regal Velocity. This thing was probably built in the 80s at some point, maybe the very early 90s. But Mark, do you still have one of these for sale? Can we hit you up on Marketplace to take it from you?
You know, after watching this, I think I'm going to have to find a way to put it back together.
Oh, you do still have the Aquaholic.
I do.
The Aquaholic may ride again?
I want it to. It just I need a lot to put it back together.
Right.
But this is, I think this
But
is
you have the
motivation.
exact same boat.
I have the exact same boat.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a yellow flag caution in turn 2. We're in from race control.
And here's the X Insurance Safe Cash entry. Still putting in laps.
MJ and her stepdad in the boat there, I believe.
Yeah, I know it's
Scott Jobin.
Yeah, it's Scott Jobin and Mary Ann, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's
beautiful
step or girlfriend or daughter of girlfriend. I'm not sure.
Right. That boat's got a 2-stroke on it as well. Still.
Yeah, that's a 300 XS.
Yeah.
But you can see the Superboat logo in the aft port corner there, so almost the way that water's coming up, I'm like, is there something? See that? The way it's shooting?
I do.
Do they have trim? Maybe they have trim tabs on that one.
Yeah, it looks like the old days of dragging your ladder.
Yeah.
You can see they're coming down the beach now.
Yep,
the
Rileys
leaders, the Rileys got it on a point, got it on a number. Hopefully they know where they're at and obviously have a very comfortable lead. The Dirt Legal boat still in second. Dirt Legal is a big sponsor. It sponsors many different things. Dirt Legal is look them up online, and they help you register your hard-to-register vehicles, side-by-sides, and other your toys to make them street legal is one of their big things.
Team Progression continuing to lead in bracket class 700 with Joseph Riley Jr. and Joseph Riley Sr. on board.
Yeah, this should be their final lap, just the start of it right now. So they're experienced. I'm sure that the throttleman is right on the number, as long as they didn't get too much out of the water. But look at piston broke.
Yeah, the battle for fourth is still the race. There you go, on screen now. Piston broke in their activator. Back in action, their progression, and then the older Shadow in third. But these guys still all really close. They could make a real race out of this just in the corner here of how they get around the next corner. And this being the last lap could make a big difference of who wants to push the hardest on the last lap. And you still got to pay attention of not breaking out, even though you want that last position.
Again, they're bracketed speed 60 miles an hour. We caution you, these are unofficial results, especially in these bracketed classes, because you can never fully know the final results until technical gets a look at their GPS cards and see what the breakouts might have been there that could change the overall unofficial standings at this point. And you can always go after the race to RaceWorldOffshore.com's result page to find out. There's Shocker overhead.
There's Shocker. What a great shot right down into the cockpit there. You can see how much you got to drive these things. And like I said, you can see the water spraying off the trim tab on the back of that thing. Still trying to keep the nose down with that motor on it and banging around quite a bit. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Patrick Romeo's first race on the wheel of that boat.
Patrick, I know, raced in the Mod V boat with Chris, so Patrick does have some experience and is a marine technician at a local New Jersey business here, Marine Unlimited, which is pretty well known in the area.
Ernie Newhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, see, they still got the back seat in that one. And some of these boats, you see the full race ones, they have a race hatch and it's all enclosed, but you can race that thing today and take it to the sandbar tomorrow.
And this, as long as this boat makes it to the yellow buoy, you will have your winner in V Limited. And that could be history, because this is the first V Limited race, correct?
Correct. They put together a proposal with APBA and then ran it through, came to the APBA national meeting earlier this year, proposing this new class for their one design, and they were granted the rights to do this. And here you see, like Eric said, making history, the first V Limited victory in the one design class. Anyone could go out and rent a seat to go racing in these boats.
Well, and the interesting thing too is because it's a 24-foot boat, they can go run this at vintage events. They could run it as like an undercard at a hydroplane race. They don't need a 4-mile course.
So officially finishing in the very first Super V Limited, the one design Powerboat team. Congratulations. Are we on our last lap here for bracket class 700, correct, Eric?
Yes, sir.
The Rileys are stalking the X Insurance boat, but that's actually getting ready to lap them.
Yes, yep.
So the
Yeah, you can see
the Rileys are on a heater of a race. They're loving this flat water too.
Yeah,
not as rough as they like, but they're running right at the number. I'm sure right at 59 in some change.
The safe cash is trimmed a little more conservatively. You can see that.
Sure.
A little more boat in the water, but the Rileys probably aren't even having a conversation. They just know what the other one's thinking and doing.
Those two guys together, the father and son team, known them forever. They're a machine when you put them together, and like you said, they probably don't even talk.
So the boat following X Insurance here is going to be your winner, taking the checkered flag, which is being waved right now, which will be the Progression team.
Yep.
And big day for them. They led all the way. Joseph Riley Jr. and Sr.
They've defended the tri-state area's honor.
Yeah. And then the Dirt Legal boat coming in second here, Brad Christopher and Connor Langheim coming across the finish line now in second place in their 22 Velocity. Third will be the Rum Runner Lou Ferreira and Bob Barnesi.
Is it Red Rum?
Red Rum, I'm
Still
sorry.
in third?
Yes.
Okay.
They're right here, right behind Todd's head right
Lou
now.
La Ferreira and Bobby Barnesi.
And then Piston Broke in fourth, and then the other Progression back in business in fifth, and Mad Max in sixth.
Mad Max is what, maximum fire safety? Right?
Maximum fire escape.
Escapes.
Max Zelich.
Great guy, new to the sport. Great run for his third race. He's out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I would say the most impressive Class 7 setup.
Tow rig, yeah.
Box trailer, and like the way he puts that boat in the water with the side-by-side, it's pretty neat.
Yeah,
so that's a toy hauler, and he's got a side-by-side inside that he launches it with?
Yes.
They're still running, so maybe they're doing an extra lap. There's still boats out there going.
Yeah, the rest
the checker flags are out.
The Rileys are in,
the Rileys are
and
and then the Red Rocket finished just behind that pack too, so they finished up in that driver's first race in his 22 Velocity, Regal Velocity older boat.
The Cook family out of Regal Boats in Orlando, Florida.
Live coverage of the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix here at Race World Offshore's Facebook page and YouTube channels. Also at X Insurance YouTube. Getting coverage from the X Insurance Helicam here today. Once again, Rick Lindsay back with the RWO team as we start the APBA UIM World Championship. Oh, look, it's your buddy there.
Oh, there's Tim Sharkey and Kill Shot. Still running around in his 13-foot boat, banging around in the. You know him pretty well, don't you, Mark?
I do. I know Tim very well. Raced for many years in a B-class boat called Shockwave.
Yeah, and he just did an endurance run last year from I think it was down the Hudson, wasn't it?
It was up the Hudson to Albany from New York City.
Yeah. To raise money for charity.
All right, waiting for the Progression team to come get their checkered flag here. 2 races down. Still 2 more race starts to come. Our modified V teams will be racing next. We'll be finishing today with Class 1 and Class 2 UIM.
So the Rileys are doing a victory lap?
Well, I thought they stopped. Did they
They
go
did.
again?
I don't
know
which boat this is coming around.
Yeah, I think this is the Rileys.
They took the extra lap.
I could have sworn I saw them stop.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's wait and see if we can. We'll wait till we get a closer look at this boat. Because I know the Safe Cash boat's still running. I just saw that just out of the picture.
Yeah, they were lapped, so they had one more lap to do, and probably just wanted to finish their own lap or their total laps for peace of mind.
Did you hear any fallout yesterday, or the guys running so many extra laps in the Super Stock yesterday? Nobody ran out of gas.
No, they all argued it. Nobody wanted to fess up to what they did, but that we all know they did. We watched them do it. You wouldn't have run out of gas with the amount of laps that they were assigned, for sure.
Yeah, they all said, no, I just pulled 10, I swear.
Yeah. Then I asked another one, I'm like, did you pull tape? How many are left in the boat? They're like, we forgot. And we've all done that racing years before. I've definitely finished a race and thought I finished, and there still be a piece of tape or not be a piece of tape that you're counting laps with. Yep, that must have been, you're right, that must have been a progression victory lap for the Rileys there.
So they win today here in bracket class 700. The rest of the teams wait for them to go get their checkered flag.
Rub it in.
Yeah. Well, when you're on, you're on. You figure
That's
I'll
right.
take another one.
I believe all 9 Class 7 boats finished, right?
They did.
That's great.
Oh, here's a name you might remember. The Save Cash X Insurance boat does have tabs, but that's the old Evil Ways boat.
Oh,
And Evil Ways, they bought the boat from Nicky, right?
Yeah, that was Anthony Perry, who has a 30-foot Tempest superboat, which I believe will be going to Michigan City and running Class 4. Has a big motor and a Speedmaster in it.
Now, wasn't he the first, Evil Ways, the first to put a 300 on a Class 7 boat?
He may have been, no, actually, I
One
believe
of.
one of the first, yeah, to put a 300 on a Class 7 boat. The first 300R was the Rileys in their progression.
Oh, okay.
Here we have the passing of the flag from the pace boat to
And
the
red
winners.
Rum, the red rum is still a 6. Sorry, Todd. Is a Pro XS, so that's an older. Uh-oh. They're not giving it to him yet.
Maybe some confusion on the pace boat. Exactly. They don't score down there.
No.
They're waiting to. Of course, progression knows that they finished in front of everyone else. They went around that extra time, which is confusing. Pace boat. There they got it. Today a great day to toss the flag. Sometimes it can be a bit dodgy getting the team the flag when it's windy or rough. But we've had beautiful weather here in Atlantic City, and we're thankful for it, especially today with this really nice sunny day progressing here for our final day of the APBA UIM opener in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Race World Offshore is next off to Michigan City, Indiana at the end of July into September, Clearwater, Florida, before heading to Key West in November, very first week of November for the RWO Key West World Championship in its 44th year. To be the best, you got to win Key West, the granddaddy of them all, as we convene at the end of the season to crown champions in APBA UIM. There's also an APBA event in Inglewood in mid-October.
Now, if anyone needs to go grab a sandwich, get a cold drink, I'd recommend doing it because the Mod V race is coming up next, and that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, they got a great class of boats here. All the big teams. All the big teams are pretty much here. There's a couple that weren't able to make it, but that should be the Mod V race. Should be a great show and super close racing. No speed brackets, no breaking out, just throttles forward and wide open racing here in surprisingly flat waters off Atlantic City.
With Britt Lilly making a cameo in the cockpit of El Bandito Tequila.
Right, which is one of the fastest boats there is in the class in general. They made all the highlight reels last year when they pirouetted the boat off of the St. Petersburg Pier unexpectedly. And since then, this is one of Steve's first races back in the boat since then.
The Lilly Sport boats, they've taken over the building of these extreme boats, and that includes Speed Marine, NMBRV, and they did not build the El Bandito Tequila, but it's basically the same bottom.
Right.
So that's the Generation 2, basically, as Todd refers to, and then the newer ones are the Generation 3s. The Killdalls have a new one that they're building, and I believe someone else bought the one from George and Ray, or was that the one that went to the Killdalls?
No. The Killdalls have their own boat being built,
Right.
and it's in a state of construction now. And Howard Richardson has one.
Oh,
as
Howard,
well,
yep.
being rigged at Speed Marine currently.
And speaking of Speed Marine, obviously being a local race to Kyle Miller and Jay Waltman, who are from Brick, which is just right up the road here in New Jersey, they want to defend their home waters. So I'm sure they're going to be running hard out there today.
All right, we're going to take a time out here. We'll come back. We're in intermission. The helicopters will be refueling, and as soon as that happens, we'll be getting to our Mod V race, which will be our third race of the day here, and we'll finish off the day with our Class 1 UIM competitors and Class 2 UIM here today at the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix. Race World Offshore with you here on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, also with X Insurance. We're back after this.
Experience summer in Atlantic City. Create memory-making moments in Atlantic City. Book your stay today.
Family first. That's just the way I look at it. And the family, my friends and employees are the ones that helped me get to what we are today. We are first responder, emergency roadside, incident, major incidents, recovery incidents with the Highway Patrol, Department of Transportation, and our family and employees goes into a risk every day. There's no way that we can run a towing company without insurance. What I look for an insurance company is a company that can be partners with me and support when the unfortunate happens. Unfortunately, I did have a small incident last year. X Insurance got involved step by step, helped me how to get to it, pay the losses, make sure that I was secure, make sure that equipment was correct, make sure that I was where I needed to be to go back to work. I didn't have to worry about nothing in my business because my insurance was handling the loss and it was right on top of the money. I can continue to worry about my business, worry about my staff, my family, and let the insurance do what they do best. As long as I stay in business, we will need insurance company.
Stop at Sunoco. Go with confidence.
Enjoy the fabulous feel of fuel power. Video game move off into turn 3.
At Sunoco Race Fuels, we started blending our first high-octane fuel in 1950. And since then, we've become leaders in the industry, helping drivers become leaders on the track. Today, we sit at the front of the pack with partnerships of more than 40 different racing bodies, including 20 years of fueling NASCAR.
Chesney past Hamlin.
But a true leader never rests on their laurels. Now's the time to remind the racing world who we are and embrace what it truly means to take the lead.
36, get to the back bumper of the 4 and give him a big push.
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge, to do whatever it takes to make you 1/10 of a second faster, smarter, more committed than the other guy, because you've got the kind of passion that can overcome the impossible. And we've got the most powerful performance race fuel available to help you do it. Sunoco Race Fuels. Take the lead.
We started our business from the ground up. We started it with a pickup truck and trailer, and to this day, we run almost 40 trucks every day with over 50 employees.
We are a family-run business, meaning the key people that run our company, and we try to take care of their families as well as they take care of ours. Relationships are one of the most important things that we have in our business.
Our relationships with vendors, such as X Insurance, has been really proven to help us along the way to continue our growth and continue to succeed in business.
Well, insurance is the most important component to our industry because of the fact that we are so labor intense. and equipment heavy, there's a lot of opportunities for things to happen.
As we grew our business, our truck insurance costs kept rising and rising. And what happened to us was we had a series of accidents, some self-inflicted, some of them by just vehicles on the street running into us. And with that combination, we ended up getting dropped by our insurance company. And so we're out there in the market. Nobody would write us except for X Insurance. We managed to keep our doors open, and we came up with a heck of a safety program with them.
And as we continue to grow and continue to do all these different safety programs and safety training classes, we've noticed that not just our drivers are safer, but our overall productivity has improved.
We knew that we could do better in our business, and a lot of our business problems were growing pains, and they were willing to take the time to learn our business with us and to listen to us. And we're very fortunate that X Insurance came through and give us the chance and willing to take the risk.
Without X Insurance, we probably wouldn't be here today.
Atlantic City Sports presents the Offshore Grand Prix. First race of the APBA UIM World Series with Race World Offshore. We're into the second half of our final day of racing here on this beautiful Sunday on the Atlantic Ocean. Coming up are Mod V teams, and there are 6 competing here on the ocean this afternoon. I'd like to thank the fine hotels here at Atlantic City, including the Golden Nugget. They were gracious sponsors and hosts as they hosted our dry pit area and wet pit area. And special thanks to Ken Adams, the Director of Operations at the Golden Nugget, as well as our other sponsor hotels, Bally's, Caesars, Harrah's, and Showboat Resort, as well as the Tropicana Atlantic City. So we're hearing from race control that 15 minutes, and they're going to have those boats push off and come out and get ready to mill. Mod V is our next class of boats that will be racing here this afternoon. So APBA and UIM gearing up here in the United States once again to race for the World Championships. It was announced a couple of months ago that the Race World Offshore had signed a contract for Class 1 worldwide to be crowned here in the USA, and also announced, and of course those are the QC4V 1100 turbocharged powered catamarans, and the Class 2 was announced at the same time, and that's going to be the Factory 500 class that'll be racing here alongside the Class 1 boats later today. Bill Pyburn Racing, BPR, and a discrete race team will be out here racing in Class 1 a little bit later on, and all these teams will be back racing in Michigan City at the end of July. And it was also announced that Super GAT will become a UIM recognized trophy and given out in Monaco at the end of the year, or actually at the beginning of the year, and that's unprecedented, where APBA is Super GAT class is being recognized globally, Ryan, by the UIM.
Yeah, it was a big piece of work for Larry and his crew to work this deal out through APBA and UIM to become the worldwide leader in bringing UIM back to America and adding these 2 more classes. Larry's here with us now. What do you want to say about how hard? I know you worked really hard. There were people that thought that this deal was never going to happen. I know you jumped through a lot of hoops to do it.
Oh boy, I tell you, it took a lot of people. I was involved with it with P1 and saw what they went through with UIM, with the hurdles that UIM put up, and how boats, were going to come to a race and, not race because of this or that. Well, that I wasn't going to have that. So we had a whole lot of discussions with everybody at UIM, and I want to say Jean-Marie was a great guy to bring all the heads together. And I think what settled it all was when I went to Monaco and met with the president of UIM and all the people there and sat at a table and basically told them what I wanted to have done, and so that we wouldn't have the problems that were going between UIM and APBA. And he and I stood up, shook hands, and said it's a deal. And then after that, the attorneys all got together and did all the paperwork and got it all done. But and the way it's working now is that APBA, is in control of, the rules and regulations and all that other stuff. And the UIM has the other part of the business involved, and the UIM and APBA are all working in unison 100%, so that we have what we are doing now. And like I said, if we couldn't have it where the control came to this country 100% because we're here, it's our boats, it's our stuff that we're running. We know these rules and regulations, and it all worked. So I couldn't be more happy about that.
Yeah, you went to Monaco, you met with the UIM Commission, and their longtime head, Raffaele Ciulli, signed the agreement, and it's unprecedented now with Class 2 becoming in a very well-developed group here in United States, and the big wide-bodied, wide-tunnel catamarans and the Mercury 500R engines, and now being the Class 2 boats. And then, as we were talking with Ryan before, I think a really huge movement forward is Supercat racing, which is so wildly popular here in stateside, is now going to be recognized globally as well by UIM.
Exactly. We added those. Well, I just happened to throw those classes in pretty well, Supercat, pretty much at the last minute while we were at the table. I said, oh, by the way, because it's not cheap having the UIM sanctioning every year, and every more classes you add, the more money you add to it. But they were generous enough to throw it in on the original deal. So,
and to be clear, I mean, UIM is a over 100-year-old organization. It precedes the APBA and helped usher in the American Powerboat Association in the early 1960s in their offshore arm, when there just wasn't any governing body and offshore powerboat racing was taking on. So UIM has always had a pretty good presence here stateside, and it kind of that has fallen away in the last 20 years, only brought back recently. And then after COVID, it had to be reorganized, and you were taking that lead because you understand the history is important, the records are important, and to have a world championship, you need some sort of governing body, and UIM is the gold standard.
Absolutely, and I understand, teams and all that need to make money, and that's been the goal forever. And you have somebody come in that wants to put in a whole bunch of money, that's wonderful, but it just hasn't been working well. I think what UIM wants to do, getting UIM involved, they're working after international sponsors to come on board, so that's part of the whole deal also, that, hey, they're part of the Olympic Committee also.
That's correct.
So, there's a lot of opportunities there, and that's what the Europeans are working on for us to come up from funding, not just taking money from Race World, to do have their sanction, but to come up with funding and everything else. So, and I think when we go to sponsors in the United States and they see that they're going to get recognition around the world, not just in the United States, I think that should make a big difference also. So, this is our first kickoff. We're doing it, and it's for our first race under UIM and our first race for Race World during an APBA this season. I couldn't be more happy. It means something when you have the calmest Atlantic City race I've ever seen and the best weather I've ever seen here. It's got to be an omen. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and a great turnout, bigger than expected here. And one thing, when we came here, Ryan, you as a longtime racer and now the chairman of the APBA Offshore Commission. You came here with Race World Offshore organizing the event, and you saw faces that you've seen administrating and organizing and tech in the sport and in registration that you've seen for 20 years. The course marshal, so many familiar faces, and it's been as usual when you have an organized association running the races. It's been a well-oiled machine here. It's like business as usual when you came to race in Atlantic City.
Oh, for sure. It's like it's the same people that have run the events and the races forever, the same staff, the same everybody that registers you and runs the day-to-day of it. There are a couple new faces, a couple old faces, but everybody has worked really well together, and we're just glad that everybody's back under the APBA umbrella. And as Larry said, APBA and UIM have had a relationship for 100 years, and APBA's been around for 125 years now. So it's moving forward together as a whole, in having basically three different groups, Race World Offshore, APBA, and UIM, working together for the same common goal of making racing better and more feasible, and trying to get it funded properly so it works long term with a real stable platform.
And Larry, you're already hearing, with three different classes here being UIM recognized, and that will be at the awards in Monaco, the annual awards for all the power sports of UIM, that there's other interest from other classes to become involved. And you guys are always open to talking and are interested in building the sport for all classes.
Absolutely. I would love to have Superstock involved. It's got one of the most large amount of boats in a class, but everybody's got to get together. It's the divisions that have been going on and within classes and everything has got to stop. You got to get together for something that's feasible for the long term. We've seen this in powerboat racing for years and years of, someone comes in and spends a whole lot of dollars in 5 years. It's always been the 5-year plan, but
right.
We need something that's going to be here like APBA, UIM for the long run.
And Larry Blyle is the right man to help to sit down at the table and work things out. I've known Larry for 20 years, and the reason why he's the head of Race World Offshore in Key West is because he was involved with Superboat International. He's a local businessman, and Superboat International, John Carbonell, we all love him and miss him. Rest in peace.
Yep.
But John was cantankerous. And, Larry was always the guy that went around and put out fires and went to the city and smoothed things over. And that in the transition that was an absolute, very difficult thing to manage of the Truman Annex property while it was built, and for us to be able to use that property for the World Championships every year. And Larry, you had a lot of experience there that set you up for this. And
I think you
went from the burner to the frying pan, type or whatever they call that.
Well, I got to say, what John did a lot, I can appreciate now more than I did then. But I got to say, everybody getting in boat racing. Now, we're going to go to a city. We're going to come up with this. We're going to put on a race here, and the city's going to give us all the money we need to do it. That does not happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The cities do not have money like they used to.
That's right.
And, you can say, I'm going to go to Sarasota or St. Pete or Clearwater or anything like that. You don't get money there. The tourist development councils, you got to spend more on advertisement than money that you can give to racers. That's what the problem is. So you've got to look at corporate. Key West, it went out, the city is not doing the lease for the outer mole anymore. They've had it for years, and the cruise ships aren't there anymore, so the funding's not there, so the Navy says, well, we're going to take it over. But, we got all this press that, Key West is never going to happen again.
Right.
They're done. It's all over. They don't realize that the letter that the Navy sent to the city said, we want to make sure that the boat races stay here every year.
Right.
And so we have, you know, deals with the Navy, and everything is going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if the Navy pier were to blow up and be gone, we could still do the races because we got Truman Anakin and other places that you could do it. The race doesn't go away.
Right.
You know, we've got that agreement. So it's, you know, everybody gets on and talks about, well, this is going to go bad, this is going to go bad, this is going to go bad. Unless you know what the facts are and what they are, you know, we're good.
And you need somebody, you know, managing it all the time. And that's what you're doing. Living in Key West and
Key West is a full-time job.
It is a full-time job, and it's there to stay, and it's why it's the granddaddy of them all. And to be the best, you got to win in Key West. Those are phrases that were coined by John Carbonell. You're continuing on in his legacy to continue in racing, and to have a world championship, it has to be where it's been since 1977, 45 years in the making.
Absolutely. You know, John was a good guy. He did a good job. He put on races, and nobody gave him any talk back because you were gone, pretty much.
Well, Ryan, it's a new era here as we start back up with APBA UIM, and it's great to have that partnership going again, and the opportunity to potentially grow this sport globally. I mean, we have great racing like Supercat racing in Australia. You got XCat racing overseas. We have opportunities potentially to build in more international and U.S. competition.
Yeah, it would be great to see because so many of these countries you speak of, even Australia especially, they've always run their own series. Australia runs their own series. New Zealand runs their own series, and they haven't been part of it. It would be great to get a European circuit more so back going like it used to be. There is some racing in Europe now, but not like it used to be, not like Class 1 used to be for sure.
Well, we'd like to, as Larry mentioned earlier, thank Jean-Marie Van Lanker, UIM coming over and helping to explain this new era along with APBA, who's attending this race here today. Also, Michelle Petro, the UIM race secretary here with Race World Offshore. Larry's been a good start so far. We've still got 2 more races here to go this afternoon. We appreciate you stopping by. The Mod Vs are getting ready to push off from the dock and come out. Yep. And what a great surprise we've had here in Atlantic City for this first race of the season.
It sure has been, and I just, want to personally say thank you to, APBA, Ryan Beckley for what he's doing, and everybody else that's helped out with this. It takes a team to do something. It's not one person, and so everybody's got to take a little piece of this and work with it.
Yeah, and the Atlantic City's been great. It's just been a ton of fun, huh?
They've been great. The people here, the people at the Golden Nugget said, we didn't think it was going to be like this. So they were very happy.
Next up, Michigan City, Indiana.
Worry about my staff, my family, and let the insurance do what they do best. As long as I stay in business, we will need insurance company.
Stop at Sunoco. Go with confidence.
Join the fabulous feel of fuel power. Video game move off into turn 3.
At Sunoco Race Fuels, we started blending our first high-octane fuel in 1950. And since then, we've become leaders in the industry, helping drivers become leaders on the track. Today, we sit at the front of the pack with partnerships of more than 40 different racing bodies, including 20 years of fueling NASCAR.
A Chastain past Hamlin!
But a true leader never rests on their laurels. Now's the time to remind the racing world who we are and embrace what it truly means to take the lead.
36, get to the back bumper of the 4 and give him a big push!
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge, to do whatever it takes to make you 1/10 of a second faster, smarter, more committed than the other guy. Because you've got the kind of passion that can overcome the impossible. And we've got the most powerful performance race fuel available to help you do it. Sunoco Race Fuels. Take the lead.
Miami is the envy of all people in the amusement rentals business. I call it the hottest town and the hottest city in the country. In 1995, I bought my first bounce house. 25 years later and over 1,000 inventoried items, here sits All-Star Events. 98% of our business was backyard parties. But we got a couple of inquiries from municipalities, cities. But we also saw that some of the requirements were different than what we were used to in the backyard business, mostly having to do with insurance needs. So we started to say, okay, if we properly insured ourselves, would it pay off in the amount of business we could bring in? And that was a no-brainer. As we insuranced up, we saw more and more people come on, mainly because of our insurance provisions. So that was instrumental to our growth, absolutely, absolutely. Although it's fun and games, consequently, our claims have gone down considerably. Now we're in a place where we understand risk and we understand challenges. X Insurance saved my backside a million times over and puts me here as the #1 player in the hottest city, in the hottest town in the country.
When you're looking for a change of scenery, there's 3 spots for those out on the town views, those relaxed views, and those make you feel alive views. They're just what you crave. When you're down the shore, and they're all only a drive away. So, plan your Atlantic City getaway, where indulgence and luxury meet endless summer vibes.
This is a limited time offer, so buy yours today. Visit raceworldoffshore.com and use coupon code CHAMPIONSHIP.
When you're looking for a change of scenery, there's 3 spots for those out on the town views, those relaxed views, and those make you feel alive views. They're just what you crave. When you're down the shore, and they're all only a drive away. So, plan your Atlantic City getaway, where indulgence and luxury meet endless summer vibes.
Experience summer in Atlantic City. Create memory-making moments in Atlantic City. Book your stay today.
Atlantic City Sports presents the Offshore Grand Prix here. First race of the APBA UIM World Championship Series, presented by Race World Offshore. We're into race 3 on the second day of racing. Todd Swafford back with Eric Colby of SpeedOnTheWater.com and Ryan Beckley of the American Powerboat Association getting set for our Mod V boats to get started. They've already passed the steel pier there and are heading out to the milling area as we're about ready to go for a 8-lap race, 4-mile course, same course, big oval that runs north to south here on the Atlantic City beaches. And we have a really good field of boats that are going to be running here this afternoon. Some world-class competition this afternoon, Eric.
Not have one.
Yeah, it sounds like El Bandito Yankee Tequila might be having some issues getting out to the course.
And that would be a shame not to have them out. But are they okay? No, are they headed back to the docks? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh well, so now we're going to have a 5-boat race, and but still some very good boats. I think the battle to watch now will come down to, I think, Speed Marine and NMBRV, the 2 newest boats in the class, and they always run hard. And but you never know. The Safe Cash with a 32 fan was going to be the biggest boat in the fleet, and then Fuel One team, and the Cluot, the Louisiana boat with the Rising Star Owen Buis throttling, has had a great start to the year in other venues, so we can go ahead and set the lanes while we wait. But as mentioned, lane 1 is the NMBRV, the all-red boat, with the owner Kirk Hanna on the wheel and Mark Rinda throttling an engine of his own build. Lane 2 is Speed Marine with Kyle Miller, the Tree Master, and Jay Waltman throttling. Lane 3 is now Safe Cash Racing, the 32 Phantom with Rick Rabb and Scott Jobin. Lane 4, Cluot Cartel Louisiana with Dustin Cluot. He's the owner driving the boat, and Owen Buis throttling a Scorpion engine. And lane 5 will be Fuel One, the 30 Phantom with Mike Giroux, and Damon Murata Sr. is on the wheel. And that's a Speed Marine engine as well. So
I think that's the other way around, actually. I'm pretty sure that Damon Murata throttles that, but Mike is the owner and driver in that one. But
okay.
it is a Phantom for sure, and it has a brand. It's been over the winter. It's been a lot of time at Speed Marine, and it's got a Speed Marine engine, and it built just up the road in Brick.
Looks like it's laying down a bit here.
Yeah.
And the tide is going low right now. Breeze coming off from the east offshore onto the beach at about 7-8, so it's picked up just a little bit. And it definitely looks like it's flattened out more so than it was earlier.
Yeah, that just means these guys are they're gonna have to manage things in a different way, because you can't just lay on the stick the whole time.
You want to bet?
The attrition now is going to be what's going to hold up.
Right, but there is going to be somebody that goes out there and just holds it down. There's several of these guys, and they're out for bragging rights and points early in the season to get a jump on. Some of these guys have waited a long time for the season to start just for this moment right here.
Yeah, there's your Louisiana boat, the Cluot Cartel boat with Owen Buis and Dustin Cluot. They've had a great season. They put on a show offshore of Cocoa Beach earlier. Speed Marine in the middle of your screen. X Insurance at the top now as they mill the same direction as the course. In MBRV Resort, in MBRV, the big red boat is another LSB Extreme 29. Safe Cash, the
32 Phantom that
Correct.
ran a couple of years back as Mr. Technology with Will Smith from Phantom Boats.
Uncle Will.
But the
I'm not sure who builds the engine in that boat, though. I couldn't tell you who puts the engine in that thing. But the Speed Marine boat out of New Jersey, this is their hometown race. They got tons of family and friends here. The NMB RV Resort from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Safe Cash is I think one of the guys in the boat is from Pennsylvania, maybe, and the boat stays in St. Petersburg, Florida. El Bandito is another Florida-based boat, as is Fuel One Team, and then the Kluwat Cartel from Louisiana.
And Rick Rabb, who drives the Safe Cash racing boat, is a former monster truck driver.
Is he really? I didn't know what his background was. I didn't know. Oh boy, this looks nerve-wracking. I see Fuel One Team popping their hatch opened in the milling area. That's not ever a good sign. Damon Murata, the Throttleman, a longtime veteran, longtime racer. He was just out here in his Class 5 boat. They got second, or appeared to finish second in Class 5. So he's looking around to see if he can figure something out real quick on these Mod V motors.
Yeah, Damon Murata Sr., just what a dedicated offshore racer he is. I mean, he's always putting something together and has been for a long time.
Yeah, he ran a Class 7 boat at Lake of the Ozarks. He ran the Class 5 boat. Here he is in his Mod V. He raced a few different times with me in my super stock boat years ago.
He's looking for that big on-off switch in the engine compartment.
He left the engine hatch up.
Yeah,
that's a sad
not
sight.
a good sign.
No.
X-Insurance Helicam hovering over the milling circle for our Mod V boats. You're watching the Race World Offshore live stream presented by Maximum Inflation. The new Maximus Quick Tire Inflation Kit by Maximum Inflation is the only U.S.-made valve that uses CO2 cartridges for your side-by-side motorcycle or ATV. Your machine got you there. The Maximus Quick Tire Inflation Kit gets you home. Also, I'd like to thank Visit Atlantic City and talk about the local people here that got in and helped in. Of course, so we'd like to thank the Atlantic City Fire Department, Police Department, and the U.S. Coast Guard, always a big help wherever we go. But U.S. Coast Guard, Atlantic City, and his team, led by Diego Sanchez.
There were so many people that worked so long on this event to happen. When Atlantic City came to APBA and asked APBA to promote and put on a powerboat race back here, offshore race back in Atlantic City, and bring the big show national event back here, it was a lot of T's needed to be crossed, I's needed to be dotted to make this thing happen. And so many people kicked in, and it's turned out to be a Chamber of Commerce weekend, thank goodness, despite a couple weather snafus, a little fog this morning, but a great day of racing and a great tournament of nearly 50 boats in Atlantic City. So APBA and Race World, UIM, everybody's very happy to be here, and the Golden Nugget have been great hosts, the showboat, and all the hotels that helped make this event happen, and all the businesses and local municipalities that helped promote it.
You know, we touched on that earlier with Larry, just how much work it takes to put, these things in, not only from the national level of having a team to come in and organize it and get the infrastructure moving and get the races going, but as you mentioned, locally, in many places you have to not only deal with local government, but you got to deal with environmental agencies. It's a big load to put these things together.
For sure, there's a lot of people behind the scenes at both at APBA and at Race World, and obviously local municipalities. Dana Potts from APBA worked his butt off to get the contract signed, and then everybody else that's helped, Michelle Petro from APBA and Race World, and everybody at the Cox Group that worked so hard, Roderick and Dylan and everybody, Brittany, that really put the paperwork together to make all the assets work well together.
We're watching the Mod V boats. They wait. A couple of boats having a problem, we heard, and we're not even sure they made it out from the wet pits. El Bandito Yankee Tequila, which was going to be an interesting match up with Steve Miklos and Britt Lilly for the first time inside of a racing boat. You know that they partnered in the past, have a great friendship. Steve Miklos bringing the Ed Spates design mold to Britt Lilly to build, and said that Mark Spates had, the Mark Spates had told him that he liked Britt Lilly and thought he'd be a great boat builder, and now he's using that mold and putting his own touches on LSB. And also we saw Fuel One having a problem, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and bring them up and get them going. We're going to be hearing
four boats.
Four boats starting this race. Leland Stanford starting the boats from the RWO Pace boat. We're listening in as he gets these boats started. So 4 boats to the start here, 8 laps.
3 Extremes and 1 Phantom. Phantom's hanging back a little bit right now.
We got a green flag already.
Yep, already. They
off
sent
and going.
them.
Yep.
This is going to be a drag race between these 3 nearly identical boats heading towards turn 1. It's heartbreaking for those other 2 boats to come all this way, do all that work, and not be able to make the start. That's painful. I've been in that position in the milling area. It is terrible. So right now, the NMBRV out of South Carolina is the red boat. Furthest away, the green boat is the Speed Marine boat, the 83, the Louisiana Clouat Cartel. 3 identical hulls battling it out, heading towards turn 1 right now.
Right overhead of the Clouat Cartel, Louisiana-sponsored team. They come right across the start-finish line, and we're underway.
The NMBRV has the inside line heading towards turn 1. That's definitely going to be an advantage for
They need to hold that through turn 1, right?
No, just to the first buoy, and then that's it. Yep. And then it'll be interesting to see who goes into turn warfare mode right here.
Well, look at Clouat already going right to the inside.
Clouat's trying to get to the inside, but there goes Speed Marine.
Kyle's the driver.
But NMB couldn't hold their line, and now Speed's going to the inside. They're going to get really close right there. Oh, my gosh. And that was a moment of blindness. So for sure, the green boat could see nothing for a moment there when they went through that wake right there.
NMBRV in the lead. And in Rinda.
Mark Rinda. He builds that motor.
Yeah.
And probably one of the harder working crew members is Kirk's son, Trustin. He's always helping Mark wrench on the boat. But they're trying to pull out. But there's no way Kyle and Jay are going to let them go. This is their backyard.
Of course, these Mod Vs, you can hear the noise of the engines and naturally aspirated, very much similar to the Super Cat boats. These guys can just build their own engines or go to different engine manufacturers, as we mentioned earlier, as we look at the Clouat Cartel running in third.
Scorpion power in the Clouat boat.
Yeah, Frank McComas builds the motors on that. There you see the Fuel One racing boat on the tow rope. A long ride home for those guys. It's going to be very disappointing for them, but still out front. The Extreme, the red Extreme, NMBRV, North Myrtle Beach RV Resort.com, Kirk Hanna and his family. There's the X-Insurance boat, Rick Rabb and Scott Jobin, the 32-foot Phantom, based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Safe Cash Racing is the name of their racing company. As they head right into the south turn here at Atlantic City.
Just got a note from Britt Lilly's good friend Kevin Smith. Just heard that Miklos and Britt lost steering.
See the top 4 boats coming around now northbound in front of the beach here in Atlantic City in Mod V, finishing up their first lap. NMBRV continues to lead. Watch them hop as they catch a rolling swell coming into the shallow water there near the beach.
Let's see who finds this hole here, the famous Atlantic City hole right between the piers here. Jay and Kyle in the Speed Marine number 32, the green boat coming at us. They are on a mission trying to hunt them down here. They're running probably mid 90s. Yeah,
yep.
Mid 90s. These boats will just tap 100 miles an hour and flat calm. They're probably not set up for that today, but they're definitely running in the 90s here, heading north up Atlantic City Beach towards the north turn 1.
And we had them an average speed of 81.475 miles an hour.
Kirk Hanna is trying a head and neck restraint device from Simpson Products for the first time in this race. And he said when they were out testing after a lap, he didn't even know it was there. So Britt Lilly is also starting to use a head and neck restraint device after his stinger in the Class 1 boat. So
here's your number 3 boat, Kluwat Cartel.
Owen Buis.
Yep.
Owen
on
Buis
the
at the
throttles.
throttle, and Dustin Kluwat at the wheel. You know, he made a big splash entering offshore racing last year after racing New Orleans. He went out and found himself a race boat and raced Class 7 last year, and now he jumped up to the next logical step in the Mod V, and that boat last year was the X Insurance boat in Mod V, and even
his Class 7 boat
very
was
famous last year at Key West, racing as the 199 Travis Pastrana and Jim York boat.
Well, the source for both of his boats was the same place.
Yes.
It was the Buis family. They got the 700 and now the Mod V.
X Insurance Helicam with the great shots as we look now at your number 2 boat, Speed Marine, with Jay Woltman and Kyle Miller, the Speed Marine engines in the LSB Extreme, running in second. They'll be racing Supercat later this year.
Yeah, they bought a former 388 skater, the last Liquor split boat, raced as Cleveland Construction. A couple names, I think it originally was the Talking Trash boat, but Jay and Kyle will be in that boat. They've been working on it for quite some time. You can look later on in the season for that famous Speed Marine green. I know it's already painted that color. It's just not quite done and ready to race yet.
Here they come, taking that northbound turn. Your leaders heading to the end of lap number 2 in BRV. It's nmbrv.com. And Kurt Hanna, Mark Rinda, the 29 Extreme with Mer Performance engines.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that this is spread out as far as it is already. I thought these guys all took drastic different setups than each other to be this far spread apart this early in the race.
Well, if you're Mark Rinda and you build your own engines, that MER is his initials, and you're hearing, oh, it's Speed Marine's backyard of Speed Marine, maybe he's saying, I needed to make a statement.
Yeah, they just found the hole right off the pier there. Took a little flyer there, and that's the hard part. You get through this, you're racing through the swell here, coming up the beach. Oh, they just took another one right there. Racing through the swell, and you're hanging it out, get a good run going, and then you hit a flyer like that, and it throws off your rhythm a lot and makes you rethink the boat's attitude, or maybe where you put that bag of weight at, or what maybe you went one pitch or too small a propeller.
Yeah, Speed Marine 8 seconds off the leader, and NMBRV averaging 82 miles an hour unofficially on that lap as we go back aboard the X Insurance Helicam and look at Speed Marine.
You have that as the end of 2?
Yes.
Okay. And they're doing an 8.
So the big choice here is, like, all these boats are very, very similar. They all run in the 95 to 100 mile an hour range. Is picking the right propeller for the setup for the day, and where you want to put a little bit of weight. And all these guys got to think in the back of their heads of, like I said, with the swells and how much the fine line of it's not dead calm like you think it is, but it's not really rough, but you know there's waves out there, so you got to put a little weight in it. This class, you can actually run a ballast tank. It's one of the only classes left you can run a movable ballast tank in it. So we'll see later on if any of these guys dump ballast. I haven't seen that yet at all.
I haven't seen any indicators of them blowing any out.
Right, that's what I mean. Or if these boats probably all have to put a little weight in them to make weight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fine line of, you can tell they obviously chose different directions just by looking at where the third lap, and they are spread out pretty good already.
Yeah, they have to be 47.50 when they come out, right?
And
MBRV, I don't know that.
Well, that's the number painted on the back of one of the boats.
Yeah, I don't.
I think it's 47.50.
In BRV in the lead, and Speed Marine in second, with the Kluwat Cartel team in third, and Safe Cash X Insurance in fourth. What a friendship between Speed Marine and NMBRV.
Yeah, well, Speed Marine rigged the whole boat for them,
Yeah.
I believe, and did a lot of the setup work on it, where Martin built the motors for it, but they did rig it for them.
A lot of the custom fabrication, the hinges and pieces and parts.
They rigged the Fuel One team boat. They're rigging they're rigging the new boat for R&S Offshore Racing for Howard and
Yep.
Marie. Their new boat is currently being rigged.
Yeah, their work is meticulous.
They've done a great job. They've got a lot of guys. Jeremy and Danny Crank is working there, and Greg Coltnecker is working there now. And like we talked about just for a moment yesterday, they have they're working in a shop that's got a rich history of performance boats here in New Jersey. So it's kind of ironic that the younger kids, Kyle and Jay, have taken over that shop, and some of the guys they got working in it, their dads worked in that shop before they did.
And this is one of the very few boats that doesn't have a name on it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to mess with that.
Well, it's funny because
I know you would. Because
no, I've made renderings for that boat and showed him the Kurt, and he's like, I like it all red. I can't put the name on it. I just can't do it.
It does look great, and it runs so beautifully.
Yes, it does. It's so clean. So great clean lines.
Whoa!
It actually looks like we got a little bit of race action going here. Oh, did they take a flyer there in the corner? I was looking out the window, and you're looking at the screen.
They hit hard on the side.
Yep. I was going to say the boats battling for third may be getting a little closer. I don't know. Safe Cash is going forward, and Kluat's going backwards or something, because we might end up with a race for third, but first and second have checked out pretty good right now.
Well, at the end of that lap, Speed Marine had fallen back about a second and a half, 9.5 seconds off the lead. But certainly with losing all that momentum on that NMBRV, probably going to have Speed Marine a little bit closer to them. They turned that lap at 81.6 miles an hour, so still kind of in that 82 mile an hour range as they started the first two laps. Back to Speed Marine from the X Insurance Helicam.
Yeah, looks like maybe Speed Marine might be making up a little on that outer leg, but not much.
Well, with that loss of momentum, the NMBR, you know they had to make up a few seconds. That's what's so important. If you're new to offshore racing, you've got to keep that boat moving forward. You're flying through the air, and the boat behind you stays in the water, keeps the props churning. That's where they're going to make up speed on you.
Yeah, they're getting down in there into the south corner right now, and these guys, that's where they're going to have to take chances. You can see for sure that Speed Marine is running the inside line buoy to buoy and exiting that corner NMB RV.
But then they couldn't hold it.
And Speed Marine took the wide lane coming out of the lane, and they're going to try to run it down the beach here, closer to you.
Let's see if they try to go back across it now, try to take inside. But because long way around the course.
Coming to the area of the course where we see that hole, trying to keep those boats running in the water. Almost a little more action for them. They got to be careful the closer they get to the shore.
These boats are definitely a handful to drive. NMB just found the hole. They took a flyer right there. They are a handful to drive. They're very, very narrow. You have a propeller that's only turning one direction, so the boat inherently wants to lean one direction. So your driver's constantly steering it to get the torque out of it and drive. You see they're dragging just a little bit of trim tab right there on the back of the Speed Marine boat, trying to keep it level. And it's a fine line of how much you want to drag or how much you don't want to drag, and to try to make it go faster. Speed Marine's going to try to get inside here to try to get another inside line and hope that the red boat makes another mistake or makes a mistake so they can get a little closer. You see them take some air there. They definitely go wide off the last buoy again and give up a little bit of real estate right there, allowing Speed Marine they definitely got closer right there.
Kulak Hotel off screen, continuing to run in third. X Insurance Safe Cash in fourth, but Speed Marine has made up quite a bit of distance. The lead down to just under 3 seconds.
Well, could it have been setup was better for the red boat earlier, and now setup might be coming to Speed Marine later in the race?
Yeah, I thought they burn a little bit of fuel off. I do not know what the fuel burn is on these boats. I'm sure it's a lot more than a super stock boat, an outboard boat I could tell you about. But maybe Speed Marine had a little bigger propeller on, and once they burn off, it comes to them. But they are definitely closing the gap a little bit as they head down towards the south turn.
Now, would these teams typically have spotters on shore?
Oh yeah, both these guys I'm sure do.
Yep. I'm pretty sure for Mark and Kirk, it would be Tristan, Kirk's son,
or Mark's wife, Kirk's wife. I'm sorry. They're just getting into the turn. We can see it from here. I don't know if we're going to pull it on screen or not.
Fuad Kotel.
Fuad on screen with
third.
us. Yes, they're going. I wish you would have got that Ferris wheel moved, Todd.
I tried. It just,
okay, here's
NMBRV. They are making a move hard in that corner. They
through.
are racing in the corner right there at the south
But they
end
still
right
can't
now.
hold it. They still got to go wide.
They did, but they dug in a little better that time.
They are going to make a race out of this just yet. They're coming. They're going to drag race down this beach right now.
There's your top two boats, NMBRV, Kurt Hanna and Mark Rinda, and the Speed Marine team with Kyle Miller and Jay Woltman in second.
Both these boats are throttlemen and drivers are doing everything they've got right now. The throttlemen are trying to put those tabs down but keep the boat under control, tapping that trim button up and trying to make the boat just go a tenth of a mile an hour faster, watching the speedometer. But this spot right here is where they hit the hole, where they look for the hole.
Who hits it this time?
Yeah, who hits it, gets out of shape. There you see the NMB Chine walking right there and there, but Speed Marine is not giving up. They are,
it's close.
NMB just took a flyer right there. They're definitely, they're within 1 second now. So.
Yep, just under 2 seconds that lead.
Yeah, that's the end of lap 5.
And again, there's
3 more.
Continue average just a shade under 82 miles an hour here. 3 laps to go. And you see your leaders. We've got a race here in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Yeah, they're going to make it sporty in this corner. Oh, wow, they really cut the corner. Speed Marine did right there.
Yep.
They're going to run it.
They're
going to run it in on them right here. But this is where they're going to go right through it again. Another moment of blindness. It's terrifying when you can't see and you know what's going to happen right there.
Yeah.
2 identical boats prepared by the same shop, run by different teams. 6 laps into this race and they're nose to tail.
Yeah, well, they were both got out of shape there a bit and had to regain their momentum, but fortunate for both, they were both at the same time. So they were about in the same position as they were when they came through at the end of the lap.
It looked like it might have become a remember 2 years ago that close call with X Insurance and El Bandito in a turn, and and Stephen Furman held it.
I remember seeing it. It was making me think of a old video from, I want to say it was a Point Pleasant race where Speed Marine ended up on top of another boat in a corner, but it was a super duper rough race, and they did that same move, which they're setting themselves up right now. I can see it out our window. They are way outside, so they are going to try to outside in this next corner and get by. I can't, to me, as much real estate if they've given up right there is hard to believe. But there they go, straight to the inside, going for the line. There's Rinda and Hannah going for the next buoy. And
they've got to hold it here. Now they've got to
trying to get through there, but straight.
Yep. And then
then
Kirk closed the door again.
Coming out the same direction.
Yep.
The other hard part about what they're doing when they're battling in the corner, to me, and I don't know exactly how much it affects this, is how much water the boat ingests, how much water you're getting through the air scoops to the motor when they keep going through the rooster tails like that. Right. How much can it take each time? These 2 boats don't have a ton of air intakes on the roof like some of the other boats do.
Yeah, they're more NACA
Yeah, so they're more NACA ducts, so they might not be straight into the engine.
And you can see NMBRV pulling out
they
ballast
look
now.
How, yeah, so they did. You saw ballast coming out of one of them?
Yep.
Yeah,
it was coming out of the
here we
the
come.
Red Bull.
They both get it.
They both hit the hole right at the same time right there.
We're in the same situation as we were at the end of the last lap.
But they are, Speed Marine's right there now.
Yeah, it's less than a second for sure. X Insurance Telecamp pulling up to the side. Our leaders, NMBRV continues in first, but Speed Marine right there on the outside with 2 laps to go.
Yep, you can see Speed Marine trying to pre-plan their corner so they can dive the corner right here, go across the wake once more. Though maybe this time they're going to try to stay out and go for a different attack. Nope, there they go. Crossed it up.
Yeah, because NMBRV did its thing again.
But they can't get quite there. They're trying to stay inside. They don't. They out through the rooster tail again.
Going to lose some speed.
Yeah.
Every corner, it seems like NMBRV starts wide, but then they close the door on the third buoy.
You get stuck in your ways and you want to make the move the same way you think it's going to work out, but after a certain amount of time, you say, oh, maybe we did a different method to get through here that'll work better.
And that's all you can do. I mean, when you get that lead, it's why it's very important to get pole position if you can. If you can get out in front, always difficult to get around. But Speed Marine's doing about everything they possibly can.
Oh, for sure. I'm surprised, like I said, that they're giving up that much room. I'm surprised they're not racing them closer. The rooster tails aren't closer right now where they were side by side.
Well, NMBRV did draw lane 1.
NMBRV had the lane 1 from the start, and it's definitely helped them in the position they're in.
Looking at the number 4 boat, yep, Safe Cash Racing, X Insurance, Rick Rabb, and Scott Jobin.
Their 32-foot Phantom, that was originally Will's Mr. Technology boat and Phantom's factory boat.
And here we are, back to our leaders.
Once we get into this corner where they're going to try the same line again. There you see Jay and Kyle going inside. Mark and Kirk really trying to hold them off.
Yep.
They are right on each other right there. Getting around the corner, it's still the same outcome once again, and they're going to drag race up the beach coming our way right now. I got a feeling they're going to be side by side at the finish line this time. It looks like Jay and Kyle
are crossing over off the
crossed
screen.
over, going to the inside, going for a different line.
Okay, folks, we got some racing here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. NMBRV in front of Speed Marine. Penultimate lap of today's race. This is the white flag lap.
But did they give up too much to make that crossover move? Because they're not as close to them as they were on the last lap coming down.
They got a run going here, but like you said, now they're going back across again.
Back the other way,
they want to have that outside in line into the north turn. That's what they think is going to work for them. But they're definitely a hair off of what they were. They were a little bit closer last lap.
About a second and a half.
Well, you really think, I mean, Kirk Hannon's driving a heck of a race.
Oh, he is. He's driving a heck of a race in a wide boat, for sure. Here they go into the corner. They did not cross over on the first buoy. So here's where they have traditionally gone, and they're going for it again. Sticking it in there, but they're not
closes the door.
They're not nearly as close as they were the last 2 laps. So
so difficult to drive following that boat in the churn, not being able to see.
Yeah, for sure. The green boat is definitely going through a second there where it's white. They're whited out for a moment. And Kurt's in control. Famous Jerry Gilbreth was saying get out front and improve your position. And you definitely have a lot more options when you're out front. But the Speed Marine boat is stalking them and looking for an opportunity trying to get there. But I'd say the red boat, the North Myrtle Beach RV boat, is just a hair faster. It just had the setup and lane 1 to start that's helped them for sure.
NMBRV in the lead last time down the southbound leg for the 3-pin turn on the south end of this big oval. And now it looks like Speed Marine gonna sit back.
Finish. Canna did an amazing job to hang on to that boat. It got a little wild in that last round of corners, and they probably thought that they might lose it all right there, and were able to hang on to it. Kluwat Cartel coming our way now to finish in third.
Yep.
Dustin Kluwat from Louisiana and Nick Buiz from St. Petersburg. Owen, I'm sorry, Nick's his dad.
He's in Croatia.
Yeah, yep. He texted me this morning, so it's good to see Owen doing a great job. He's really come a long way. We talked a long time about him yesterday. The kid grew up in boats and is going to be an amazing throttle man and doing a great job.
Yeah, Kluwat Cartel, another 29 Extreme, and they'll finish in third here today.
And then right behind them, the 32-foot Phantom, the X Insurance Safe Cash boat, Rick Rabb and Scott Jobin going to finish in fourth. after a long race. And unfortunately, we had two boats that were scheduled to be in this race that would have really made it exciting, as the Fuel One Racing and the El Bandito Tequila, both with mechanicals before the event started and not able to take the green flag today. So that's a big bummer for those guys, because everybody works so hard to get to these events, and when something like that happens, it's truly heartbreaking. I feel for the Fuel One team with the long tow in on the end of that tow rope.
And we look at our 4th place boat, X Insurance Safe Cash. And coming back around for the checkered flag is going to be NMBRV. NMBRV.com, or Myrtle Beach RV. Kirk, Hannah, Mark Rinda in the 29 Extremes with the MER Performance engines built by Mark Rinda. With a flag finish in first here today in Atlantic City.
IMCO SCX drive on the NMBRV. Bravo on the Speed Marine. Both versions of the same thing, really, just beefed up.
There comes the red boat, NMBRV.
Going to get their checkered flag, and as a longtime racer, and this is the thing right here that you want the most, is you want that right there. You want to unfurl that thing, wave it all around. More than the trophy, more than anything, is coming into the pits after the race, heading into the crane with that right there. That's what's hanging on your wall. That's what you remember. That's what you have in your. I have a good friend that had 100 of those stapled to the wall in his garage, that he won them all, and one of the greatest throttle man in our class, in the super stock class, forever. But that's what you race for, is that flag in that moment right there.
Kurt and Mark got the win in NMBRV.
Well done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to set up an amazing remainder of the 2026 campaign in this class in particular. Now, as we move on to Michigan City next, Michigan City, Indiana, on the way to the RWO Key West World Championships. We'll be stopping Clearwater. And don't forget the APBA race in Inglewood in October, another qualifying race. The Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix. Special thanks to some of our sponsors, including our sponsor hotels, Bally's, Caesars, the Golden Nugget, Harrah's, Tropicana, and Showboat Resorts. Our APBA UIM sponsors here with RWO on the series: Maximum Inflation, Racing Communications, Southern Racing Fuels, Sunoco, and Visit Atlantic City, as well as X Insurance presenting the UIM series here this year with Race World Offshore. Next up, Class 1 and Class 2. We're now newly recognized with UIM, along with the American Powerboat Association. Class 1 with the QC4V 1100 turbocharged engines, the big catamaran hulls. I think we have a 50-foot Mystic Racing and the 45 Victory hull coming out, BPR Racing and Discreet Racing. And Motlick Injury Attorneys will be back again to race in Class 2, and all these boats and others will be gathering up in Michigan City in the end of July. Go to raceworldoffshore.com for the full schedule of events. That was an exciting race, gentlemen. That was great.
Yeah, it started, we thought it was going to be a little bit more, and then they separated pretty quick, but by the end of it, those guys were doing some racing. Great action between the two extremes. Boy, I had every word but that one coming out of my mouth. The two extremes there, built by Britt Lilly and LSB from the original Mark Spates Extreme molds. Great, super tight racing. Two different engine builders there, but super tight racing, and put on a show for fans, put on a show for us that like seeing the racing right down to the very end.
Looking at the boardwalk pier, the steel pier, we got really beautiful weather here for this event. long-time racing stop over the decades here in Atlantic City, and really a hub of offshore racing over the decades. And we talked earlier with Mark Henderson about it, along with Ryan, some of the historic places that we raced across here. Or in the early days of APBA, you know, you had a lot of regional racing, divisional racing, they called it. And then New Jersey was a bastion of that type of racing.
Yeah, they had a ton of divisional racing, Northeast Division racing back in the day in New York and here down to Virginia and Maryland, Chesapeake Bay, and up to New England. And there was a massive amount of divisional racing, and that'd be great to bring it back on a smaller scale. Not every event has to be a full national race, but this is what everybody aspired to race back then. But Atlantic City, as far as I know, always had a national race, always drew a big crowd. It's super cool to come to a place like this that has a rich history and so much to do here, and so much adults and kids, and obviously there's casinos and music. And I think James Taylor was here the other night, where I was next door at the Hard Rock. We were having dinner, and everybody was all excited, and there's concerts and a lot going on. So it's super cool that to visit Atlantic City, and Atlantic City Sports Commission wanted to bring powerboat racing back on a grand scale. And it's amazing and wonderful that APBA and Race World and UIM were able to put this event together, and that all the race teams really got together and came back out for it, because the weather wasn't looking extremely well, and yesterday turned out good, and we're just happy to be here.
No doubt. And next up, it's Michigan City, July 31st through August 2nd. Now, Michigan City is one of the favorite race stops of offshore racers. You know from going there for many, many years. Had my first opportunity to do the live stream there last year, and got the experience. And I've been all over the country broadcasting powerboat racing. Been to different stops around the globe as well. And I tell you what, you know, and of course growing up in Key West and cutting my teeth broadcasting there, I'll tell you what, they're a close second there in Michigan City, one of the finest race sites with the finest communities, and what an organization that they have there locally, putting on an incredible race. Looking forward to that again.
Yeah, the town of Michigan City, LaPorte, all the local area there, they come out in droves, and it's one of the biggest event, if not the biggest event, that happens there every year. Jack and his whole team, Scott, and everybody that helps put that together at Washington Park in early August. I was telling somebody else about it yesterday. There's nothing like it, where people come to this beach every weekend, as you can see. But when we're in the pits in Michigan City, the beautiful big Washington Park, and thousands and thousands and thousands of fans are coming out to the beach to watch the races, to the lighthouse area there. It's a great event on Lake Michigan. Year after year, they've been doing that race 15, 16 years now. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we'll head down to Clearwater, what's become one of the quintessentials, the Nationals, as it's been called, for years and years. That's been a great race, end of the season, before we head to Key West. And then there's one more stop on the APBA National Tour, and that the finals for the APBA National Tour will be in Inglewood in very early October. The Inglewood Beach Waterfest is run by the town. It's a sleepy little Florida beach town until that weekend, and beautiful Gulf waters there. Somehow it always tends to be pretty rough there in Inglewood, though, but they do an amazing job. And then we head to Key West for, like you said, the granddaddy of them all, the one that's got everybody hooked on boat racing, is the World Finals in Key West, the Key West World Championships in early November, and that's the greatest race on earth.
Yep, 3 days of racing, and it's November 1st through the 8th, the amazing street party Friday night. And you go to raceworldoffshore.com for a full schedule of events, and keep posted on what's happening in the world of offshore powerboat racing at speedonthewater.com. Eric Colby will be posting a story from Atlantic City here tomorrow morning, as he does with all of the national races. As we see Discreet coming out. This is one of our Class 1 teams, Discreet Offshore.
Bill Pyburn Racing alongside.
There, yes, sir. There they are coming up. The old white boat that he just acquired, and will be racing later this season with Darren Nicholson. It's the 222 Offshore team that Darren won the UIM World Championship a few years ago. Came one turn away from Key West and a hatch of popping open in his boat from winning it back-to-back years before Mike Falco did in the Falco race team. And now he'll be campaigning them out. That's Britt Lilly in the boat with him here. But Darren will be finishing the season with Bill starting in Michigan City. And inside Discreet Offshore, Reese Langheim and Adam Carpenter, 50-foot Mystic here. So we have varying hulls here, 45 Victory with BPR and the Discreet Offshore 50-foot Mystic.
And that's the only boat in the class with Trimax drives, rather as compared to the usual BPMs. They're both rudder. Yeah, the Trimaxes don't steer. That's a rudder setup. So, but that's what they put in the boat when it was originally built in 2009. And then the Montlick Injury Attorney's boat is the 38-foot Doug Wright with a pair of Mercury Racing 500s. Logan Adon on the wheel, Giovanni Carpatella on the throttles.
This is Class 1 you're looking at in the center of the screen with the BPR and the Discreet team. The Montlick Injury Attorneys team, the outboard-powered 38-foot Doug Wright, now designated UIM Class 2, the winner of the Class 1, Class 2 World Championship, as well as APBA Super Cat, will be recognized in Monaco first of the year at the UIM World Championships. Great to be involved with UIM, Union of International Nautique, once again. APBA and UIM partnering up with the Race World Offshore to race starting here in 2026 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. These boats scheduled to run 10 laps and 8 laps respectively to finish off our weekend here. And it's great to see the sun shining out here on the beaches in Atlantic City.
Yeah, considering what we looked at early in the week for weather reports, this is perfect weather. It's amazing. As we've said over and over again, I cannot believe how calm it is here. No one, and I mean no one, expected that. Everybody expected to be another banger, another boat buster, which is ironic considering how the rest of the year's going. We've had some races where there's no way it could be rough, and it was rough. And here we are in Atlantic City, and it's pretty calm.
That's BPR on the left, in the center, Discreet and Montlick Injury Attorneys to the right of your screen from Rick Lindsay's X-Insurance helicopter.
Still got our red flag up, so.
And we'll be trying to listen in to the pace boat with the start of this race. Won't be so as complicated. Obviously, nearest to the pace boat will be the two Class 1 boats.
Oh, so Discreet just had their cockpit hatch up a little bit to try to get some air in. That's all that was. We got a green light.
Green light to get them
for the course.
To get ready to come out of the mill and start it this afternoon just outside at the Marina Pier bar area. We'll have the award ceremony for this Atlantic City Offshore Grand Prix. That's outside of the Golden Nugget.
Yeah, they just moved that up to 5 o'clock, and anybody who wants to go out, if you're in the Atlantic City area, all the boats are there at the marina at the Golden Nugget, and we'd love for fans to come check everything out, walk through the pits, meet the racers, see the boats up close. We're gonna line up and go with the pace boat right now. Leland Stanford on the pace boat. Let's listen in on what he's got to say as these boats get ready to go.
Setting up the start of our final race. It's Montlick on the outside.
You guys are looking great. We're coming up to a speed and we're holding tight. We're holding tight at this speed. Get lined up tight. Get lined up. Nice and even. Nice and even.
There goes the green flag, and we are racing the final race start of the weekend. Class 1 at the top of your screen, moving to the left and nosing out is Discreet. BPR racing to the right. Montlick staying in the group for the moment while they can. Talking about 2,200 turbocharged power against 1,000 four-stroke power. Supercharged, but
outboards.
Yeah, outboards. And there we see Discreet taking the early lead. Had some issues yesterday. Were unable to finish the race. Had to get towed, I believe.
Yeah, they had a hose come off. That's why they were taking on water. So pretty straightforward fix. But for them, it's just, get more time in the boat, learn the systems. And it's the same really for Bill and Britt, especially Bill in the new BPR boat, because he's still got to get that dialed in, even though he's had 2 other victories. They're not all the same.
Well, they didn't run. They definitely got it through that corner really well. They definitely want to improve a point and get it through the corner and not let Discreet get away with a little bit of a lead there. I'm surprised they ran it through that corner as hard as they did, honestly, put it on the inside. There you can see the size difference of those 2 boats. Obviously, the black boat makes it look optically bigger, but they're 5-foot difference, and they're hanging it out, running down the beach here, heading to finish up lap number 1 here. And Discreet pulling back out front. I'll see if they play it as nice in the south turn as they did in the north turn, or if they run it in there and don't leave them a lane as they go through that corner.
Looking back at our Class 2 boat now to the Class 1 leaders, and that's Discreet Offshore and BPR Racing.
They're going into the corner with Discreet Offshore, the 07 boat, in the lead. It's impressive that they've got that big boat getting around these corners really well. Oh, he definitely closed the door on the exit turn right there. He made Plyburn run and right through his wake there. He left no quarter there. We'll see how they drag race down the beach here.
Well, Reese is no slouch as a driver. It's just getting used to a bigger boat. He's a multi-time champion.
Speaking of Reese, we got to say hello to Sarah. We hear you have an anniversary coming up, and Reese wanted to say happy anniversary a little early. Maybe that's what he's trying to give you, Sarah, as a little anniversary present with a checkered flag here in Atlantic City.
All right, we look at Discreet Offshore coming through.
There's the hole.
Yeah.
BPR just hit it.
They'll lead at the end of lap number 1 of 10. About a 2.5 second lead over BPR Racing.
I'm very impressed by the lead they have already pulled away of how they've gotten around the course. They're not being shy about it. Adam Carpenter had a skater pleasure boat for several years, or a few years, before he bought this 50 Mystic earlier in this year. And they're doing a great job getting it around the course already. But there you see BPR
goes
trying to get to the inside. Then we'll see how they line up at this last buoy. They're going to try to shove it in there right now.
BPR Racing, Dirty Money Racing, and Supercat, known for their torque curve ability, really turn on rails, and good exit speeds. A lot more difficult than Supercat. Get these turbocharged engines spooled up and moving along pretty quickly, and they've edged out to a lead. Motley injury attorneys running unopposed in Class 2. Giovanni Carpitello on the throttles, and Logan Adon in the 38, Doug Wright in Mercury 500R power.
And they've got Liquimali on there as a sponsor as well.
So
But
into
here
the
we
turn.
are back into the turn at the south end.
BPR is definitely edged out, staying close to the pins. We'll get a good shot of these big catamarans.
Now here comes the Discreet coming back underneath them.
Watch as the air loads up in the tunnels underneath. Of course, they're trying to keep the boat stuck to the water. But get it flying as best as possible. Keep those props churning. And we got a drag race coming down the line with the two of them. Get a better idea. It is definitely about a boat length lead for BPR, but he's on the outside.
So it'll be the age-old adage of, do you want to carry more speed and try to go to the outside, or run the tighter course on the inside, which you would think it would be reversed roles with the smaller boat on the outside rather.
They're definitely going to run it in there right now, and I'm just dreading the possible outcome of that, of the different levels of experience right here getting through that corner. So it's great to see the racing action, and the same thing I was talking about right there. That's terrifying when you can't see anything, and that's why they almost stopped. And also filling the boat with water.
Yep.
Filling the engine compartments with water, hundreds of gallons just then when they go through there. And that's what's scary of when they do that. And now they just pull away. But when you can't see, when you run it into the rooster tail like that and you can't see anything, you're waiting on them to stop or hit them or anything, and you don't know what's going to happen.
50-foot Mystic with the twin 1100 turbocharged Mercs, the official engine of Class 1 racing, leading.
Now you almost want to start listening to see if you hear anything from
that's
BPR, because all that ingestion, that salt water.
Right, salt water. Just fill the boat with salt water in the hatches and the engine compartments and everything. So they're praying, they're thinking, they're waiting for a sound or a smell or something after that of when they get them that close.
Well,
they're not shy about it. Obviously, Bill Pyburn's never been shy about anything. The boat's obviously still running right now, but there's still salt water sloshing around in that thing. And the bilge pumps are probably on.
You have to wonder what...
they're not going to give up, but they're definitely running it down right now. And look for the hole coming here. As both these boats they're probably in the 140s, maybe even 150 miles an hour right here.
And you also wonder what TJ Rand and crew were thinking when they see them run through that rooster.
Yeah, there's the black boat taking a flyer first. There's the white boat take a little bit of a flyer.
Finishing up of lap number 3, Discreet Offshore, average 105 miles an hour on that lap. You know, down the straights, they're topping in at speed. They're thought to dig in here into the turn. Exit speed's everything. You want to carry plenty of speed, as much as you can, coming out of the turn.
Yeah, that turn.
And that's where you think the black boat would have the disadvantages on the exit of the turn. And that time you saw they just gave up so much real estate on the exiting that corner. But they're probably trying to carry speed, and they knew they didn't have to protect the line as much that time, and try to carry speed on the exit. And where the smaller the white boat, the BPR, you see accelerates out of the corner very well.
And the experience factor for Bill and Britt,
for sure,
having worked together for the last 2 years.
Yes.
You know, you would think that would be in their favor.
Yeah, but even in a new boat, you know, those guys probably don't even think about it being in a new boat to them. Whereas Adam Carpenter and Reese Langheim in the 50-foot Mystic, it's still a new boat to those guys. I know they've done a lot of testing. They've taken it to Illinois. They've tested in Florida. They may even, I know they've worked with the guy in Canada a little bit, but I know they've been testing. But testing by yourself doesn't give you a lot of real-time things. Man, they are running through that corner fast. They at the south end of the corner right now, they're cranking through the corners. But that's where Pyburn's boat, a little bit smaller, gets through the corners and carries speed a little bit better. You just saw the thing like set down, come out of the corner and go like that when it comes out of the corner. And Pyburn and the BPR can carry speed a little bit. We'll be back here to racing in a second. You show the trim of them trying to air the boat out to make it accelerate right there. Both of these guys popping up, trying to make the boat accelerate out of the corner. And Pyburn, BPR trying to get back to the inside in hopes of having another run be able to creep up on them and sneak into the corner.
Comes your Class 1 boats, Discreet Offshore, continuing to lead. But officially that lap, 104.78. seconds off the pace is BPR. There they are, overhead, Britt Lilly and Bill Pyburn. The Dirty Money race team. Pyburn acquiring that boat after his was destroyed, blowing over backwards in his previous race. And will be moving forward with the boat, formerly a UIM World Champion, 222 Offshore, Australia.
Yeah, and this, you would think the Mystic's only going to get faster as it burns off.
Well, they both are. They're both going to burn the same fuel. They got the identical motors. They might have a slightly different. I would assume that the BPR team has a little bit better propeller selection than the discrete boat, but you never know what these guys have. Montlick's definitely slowing down as they go around the corner there. They're out here gathering points towards their UIM World Championship for the Montlick Injury Attorneys and their Doug Wright race boat there, the number 40, Giovanni Carpatella and Logan Adon. They're out there putting laps and getting points, making their way around the course here.
Now, will they get points for both days?
I believe so. I mean, they're racing both days.
Yeah.
They're putting laps in. So,
and
as they're going around the corner there at the south end, it's a carbon copy of what the last couple of laps has looked like. Them trying. BPR went through the wake that time, trying to get the inside. Maybe they think they can get a better run down the beach. And they're trying to, the black boat, the discreet, trying to protect their line a little bit. So they're definitely getting closer. This race is going to be won in one of these corners, I believe.
Well, we're still.
It's going to be won or lost in one of these corners.
Well, we're only completing lap 5 of 10, too.
So we're halfway.
There's still
a lot of fuel to burn.
Yeah.
Oh! Lost speed there. Got the nose up
Little
again.
Replay, 2 of those in a row. The hole.
Lap time down to 102.2 unofficially. Had a 5-second lead, now down to 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
They just needed to get an adrenaline charge.
No,
to
they got it there.
To get their reflexes back. Now let's see if Britt and Bill can make up some ground.
They made a whole lot up right then, and you can see it. That they just get around the corner a lot better. But it's the acceleration. Maybe the big boat has the black boat has a little more acceleration right here. I'm impressed by the discrete boat and what they've been able to do today, and keep it this close, and be out front. They definitely BPR didn't get through that one corner and hosed themselves down really good. They're hanging it out right there. They took a little flyer. The big black boat handles this little bit of swell pretty well, which another boat we're missing. I hope to see back. Thought we might see him here this weekend at least. It was the DF Young race team, the old Cintron boat. They have a silver Mystic that looks exactly like that one. That they thrive on the rough water. Rich Wyatt and who's ever running the boat with him. Rich has been around for many years. They're from in Pennsylvania, not too far away. Thought we might see him make an appearance here this weekend. I know they've got the boat back running from when they rolled it a couple years ago in Key West. I know they tested it with Herb Stotler and everybody in Sarasota a month or so ago. So hopefully we'll see Rich and some other Class 1 boats back on the course soon.
Yeah, I've texted with him a couple times. He's just time.
Yeah, Rich is. I've been friends with Rich for a very long time. He's real low key, but he does a great job, and they run a very nice first-class operation with Stotler Racing, the DF Young team. But these guys are racing down the beach here again. Let's see where we find the hole this time around between the two of them here. Like I said, this is 140 or 150 miles an hour. These guys drag racing down the beach.
Turn these laps at about 2 minutes 6 seconds. A little bit of a distance now between the boats for discrete. That lap goes through at 105.6, so they were able to bump it up a bit, and that lead up to about 4 seconds.
I'm glad to see them still racing here, but it's the same story we talked about the last race. They're trying to win it in the corners, trying to everything they got to get through this corner right here. And you see the boat take an ugly hop right there. And at least they're not. You see, they're not going through the wake like the other guys did, and they're trying to keep any more water from coming in that boat.
BPR Racing running in second from the X Insurance Helicam. Live coverage of the Atlantic City Sports Offshore Grand Prix, first race of the APBA UIM season, on the road to Monaco for UIM classes, and here in the United States to the Key West World Championships later this year. Discreet Offshore leading Class 1.
Now, I haven't been out of this room since we... Is it as humid today as it was yesterday out there?
Sure it is.
Okay, so do you start
looking
at things with your data on the dash because of pressures and temperatures?
I mean, I think the weather is more in favor of this today.
I wouldn't think these guys are looking at any gauges right now at all. I think,
Yeah.
Discreet just blew the corner. Just completely blew the corner. Completely ran it in there too far.
Yep,
now they're trying to get
now
back.
Look at Britt, take it tight.
Yeah, take it. They ran it in there too hot, or didn't set the boat for the corner or something. We'll see if he carried speed around, but he gave up so much real estate on the exit of that corner.
Well, how much of that was Montlick? Because that was right in the
there he stands it up, he stands it up on the trim buttons, trying to make it accelerate. But BPR is going by him right now.
Yep.
It appears we've had a lead change.
Got to the inside. We'll see how they drag race.
They got a little out of shape
let's
there.
See what happens at the hole. Though.
Where's the hole?
Because he's really
right
trimmed
here.
loose right now.
Yeah,
they are side by side, I think, with 3 or 4 laps to go right now.
Yeah, the Mystic is very light.
And how nice are they going to play going into this next corner?
Well, Discreet edges back ahead. And while they averaged a mile an hour faster, imagine how fast BPR turned that lap. So,
but now they're making them.
Yeah, this is
hold the inside.
Where it's going to go is who's going to. Yeah,
this is where
corner.
Britt's going to outturn.
Yeah, right now, right there,
Reese.
right there.
Yeah, Dirty Money Racing, BPR Racing, known for its torque curve, and they get their boats around and maintain speed in the corners like no other. They'll run those pins tight.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if this was say a 6-drive boat against a rudder drive boat. The rudder drive will go around the 6-drive boat every time. But these boats are both rudder boats. They both have surface drives, slightly different surface drives. But there's just some amazing racing going on late in the race, which honestly surprises. I'm sure a lot of people didn't think it would be this close.
BPR has gotten by Discreet here. As we get to the final 4 laps of this race.
And Discreet's not going away.
Discreet is not going away. That thing is running really well. And motoring right now. There you go. And I'm surprised that they're going into the corner here. It's going to be close racing. And but now BPR's in control as they have the inside line, and clearly they've gotten around the corners better.
And the teamwork over the last few years with Britt Lilly, Discreet went inside.
Discreet went through the water, went through the rooster, got the hose.
And again, the team perk you got between Britt and Bill, a lot of races, double race time the last couple of years between Super Cat and Class 1. And they've taken the lead here.
They're definitely running a wide course though right now too. They're like off course right now. I'm not sure where they're going. They are way inside the course right now.
That hose down,
they're
having trouble.
Inside the race course.
Who is?
Discreet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they're running a way different line than they've run before. They've been way further closer to the pier that time. But
now all of a sudden, BPR
just put the coals to it. Put the coals to it.
So now the deficit has become an advantage for BPR Racing in the 45 victory here in Class 1.
Yeah, they definitely took a different line coming north up the beach that lap than they had in the past, where they were definitely running way closer to the beach the past 2 previous laps. That's why it made it look to me like they were going to head inside, or they were trying to run a real wide boat.
Down to 3 laps here in this Class 1 race in Atlantic City, New Jersey. BPR Racing out to the lead. Discreet Discreet Offshore now in second and trailing by 6.5 seconds. What was a 5-second lead, now a 6.5 second deficit. So we lost 11 seconds over the last couple of laps, specifically on the last really where the major change came. There's our Class 2 entry. Motley Injury Attorneys looking to win a Class 2 World Championship in their 38 Doug Wright to Logan Adon and Giovanni Carpatella.
Still trying to keep them honest down there in the south turn. Discreet trying to make up a little ground they lost, but BPR racing on rails there, pulling away. It looks like. We'll see if they take that same line coming north up. It looks like they are. They're maybe they feel like they get out of the hole going that way, closer offshore, further offshore. And Discreet, they're going to run a little further inside this time.
Amazing turnaround over the last couple of laps. That it looked like BPR came out of their hose down in a better situation than Discreet did.
Oh, I just saw BPR take a land on a flyer.
Turn that lap at 1:05 plus. One of our fastest laps of the day with a 6-second lead. Two laps left to go here in Atlantic City for Class 1.
Yeah, now it's pretty much their water, their lane, their line.
So important to have the clean water in front of you, the clean lines. They had a battle through the first part of the race, trying to catch Discreet, trying to dive to the inside. Got one washed down and jumped through the wake on several other occasions. We look at the southbound leg, and the Atlantic City skyline is going to be a great stop moving forward for the APBA UIM Racing Series. Discreet Offshore, Adam Carpenter, Reese Langheim running in second.
They got a great race. It's still running. They're still obviously the may bog down. Maybe it goes into Guardian when they get salty. It gets some water on them, but it did definitely look like when the Discreet went through the Rooster Tail a couple laps ago, right where we're at now, that it definitely hindered them for a moment, just like it did to BPR when they went through Discreet's Rooster at the north end of the course. It disorients you for a minute. It makes you think something's happening, and oh, checker flag's coming out this time by.
They're going to go ahead and put the checkered flag